Well, there goes the. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to not the 900. For those of you who turned in just a little bit early, as soon as the stream went on, I had the wrong numbers up behind me. That's old Dave, maybe not getting enough sleep.
David, I have to tell you, when I was in school, punishment in Catholic school was writing numbers.
Oh.
So they're like right to 1,000. So I wrote up to 100, 1 to 100. Then I wrote 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, because I thought that was correct. And she's like, nope, every number in between.
Oh,
and
man.
I was like 100. So you just did that. You did like 900. 990.
Yeah.
Just jumped 90 episodes, yeah.
Yeah, because is she really going to look at that? But no, yeah, it's not the 991st episode. We just had our 900th last week.
Is it because your shirt is like a time changing shirt?
No, the shirt is kind of discoid. Should make you think of like records,
yes.
Music, things like that. Because
are you a DJ?
Our guest in the Daverhood,
is he a DJ?
He has been. He was a DJ.
Is he a rapper?
No, he's certainly not a rapper. I don't think he's repped any rappers. He maybe roped some rappers.
Music producer, agent?
He's a music agent, yeah. And has been for many years. And he was a DJ back in the days of freeform radio. I mean, the real days of FM freeform radio out in Cleveland, Ohio. And did that for a bunch of years, made connections. And then he started being sort of the manager, started being the manager of people like Michael Stanley, which led to also repping people like Joe Walsh and yeah, seriously. Eventually, folks like Cat Stevens and Harry Nilsson. And yeah, I mean, this guy has gotten around. His name is David Spero. And he's written his memoir. It was about a year ago that it came out.
Call him David Spero.
Why would you call him David Spero?
Spero.
Like bird?
Yeah, the nickname. Everyone has a nickname.
Well, at least it's not close to Spiro Agnew. No, it's Spero. David Spero. And he's going to spare some time to talk to us today on Dave's Gone By about obviously his rock life. And what's going to be interesting is that although he was in it, he was when bands were touring, these big rock kind of bands, and he was sending them out and touring with them and doing all that stuff. Huh?
You went with them?
I don't know I assume sometimes he had to go on those stops and things,
sure. But
his book is quote unquote a tell-all, but it's not going to be like Rock Babylon, and it's not going to be like Pamela DeBar sort of thing. No, I'm sure there's some names,
secrets,
right? But nothing. I don't expect
nothing litigious.
Exactly. That Rabbi Salsal, who will be doing the interview, Rabbi Sal Solomon, will pull really dirty, nasty, mud shark stories out of them. But at the same time, he's probably got some really cool stories about everybody. He knows, the two remaining Beatles, he certainly knows them. And he knows a lot of folks.
Sir Paul?
Sir Paul. There's actually a picture of him. I just posted it. I posted it.
What?
Wow, man, yeah. I should be getting into college now. I posted it on Facebook just this morning of a picture of Sir Paul with David Spero. Paul signing a guitar.
Is he English or
no, Spero's a Cleveland kid. Cleveland rocks.
I'd be very curious to see how because I'm sure like many people do that job, how he got those celebrity clients.
Well, yeah. Well, you know how it is. Like
I know.
Well, yeah, you do. You've been married to me for so long and was there from the very beginning of the show. Or like when I was working at Playbill, it was like, how did I start to be interviewing very famous people? Well, you get one or two. And then they're published or they're put on and it's like, oh, by the way, I interviewed these people. Therefore, I'm qualified to interview them. And when you interview them, it's like, oh, well, he's got a backlog. He's got a catalog.
Of people.
So yeah, people know each other. They recommend each other, and that's how it works. So and Spero is still managing bands. He's about 80 years old now. He's still doing the do. So we're calling this episode Spare Me for Howard Spero, who's going to be in the Daverhood in just a little while.
What time?
Talking to Rabbi Sal Solomon at about 9:30, and then the quiz will be at 10.
Who's on the quiz? Who are the players?
The quiz, God willing, will be our beloved bunch. It'll be David Spero. I keep thinking Howard Spero. Sorry.
Why? Yeah, why?
I forget who he was. He was a lawyer or something. David Spero playing opposite our beloved David Sheward and Leslie Hoban Blake.
Whoa.
So it's like a classic old school style.
Yes.
Today,
Great match.
yesterday, trivia quiz here on Dave's Gone By. We'll also go for Greeley Crimes and Old Times, which is this.
Do you think that
Yeah.
your guest could represent your song, Mr. Poodangles?
You know, I have written, Dave here has written so many songs over the years. Many of them have been played on the program. A lot of them are, remember Joey the Spastic Kangaroo? I wrote that classic
Yeah.
all those years ago. Wasn't that
I
wonderful?
like that.
The recent Mr. Poodangles about a man who until his lowering into the ground, never finally, solves his constipation problem. Very, very proud of that one, and brand new song, really.
Great run of that one.
And other songs I've written, like the Enema Blues, of course, my first classic. I mean, maybe David is taking on new clients. So
Thank you all.
David Spero will send me out on the road. I'll get groupie. God knows what kind of groupies I would get. Like, institutionalized old man. He made me laugh with that song he had about the excrement. I was like, I've literally written 10 songs about excrement. It could be any one of them. I really have. I have over the years. This one's for you, about a man giving his beloved an enema. That was one of my early classics. And by the way, it's to the tune of an Elton John song. So it's got to be good. I mean, these, huh?
That's class, honey. You got class.
To quote Mel Brooks, I got class coming out the blowhole. I really
Yes, you
do.
do. That's
So,
very true.
so yeah. So maybe Howard, David and I will click. I don't know why I keep calling him Howard. David and I will click.
Is it Dave or David?
David.
He's a bid.
I believe he is a bit. Pardon me.
I can't make you two right now, David.
It's fine. And our Colorado Limerick event, where we're going to White River City, Colorado,
Wow.
which is no idea where that. Well, I'll tell you where that is, but it's a small, lovely place in Colorado. And I've written a horrible poem about White River City. That will be our Colorado Limerick of the Dam. So we got a lot of fun, classic Dave's Gone By stuff to do, because that's what we do every Saturday here in the Daverhood from 9 until noon or thereabouts on this Facebook page, and then archived later on at davesgoneby.com. It's a mix of humor, talk, interviews, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be great. So, how you doing, hon?
Good. I'm
Oh.
okay now.
Yeah, good. Well, Joyce had her back go out a bit yesterday.
Not
That was
my
nice.
back, I just had a twinge. It wasn't like my back went out.
I
I was
got
like flat up,
Yeah. No, it was sort of like you're getting out of bed and you just sort of like, "Ah!" Which I've been there. And most of us have been there. And thank God it wasn't your lower back. It was kind of the middle back. And it just killed you all day. It was just like, because that's the thing. Sometimes it hurts and you go, and most of the time you're just trying to avoid having it hurt.
Yeah.
You're trying not to move in a certain way where you go, and then it's kind of moved away from your back, which is good. And just moved up to more the front of your body, which I don't understand how that works. It's like you have a terrible cold, or you even don't even know you've had a cold, but you start getting the phlegm thing. And for a week, it's like, it's coming up from the depths of your lungs. And then kind of just, everything moves up a little more. It doesn't stay where it is and just get better. It's kind of like, I got the phlegm by my tits. Oh, I got the phlegm a little higher just by the nipples. Oh, the phlegm's here. Oh, the phlegm's here. And like a month later, it's like, it's in the throat, but nothing to do with here. It's like, boom. So it's weird like
David,
that.
listen,
Yeah.
Speaking of weird.
Yes. Yes, we want to talk about. So Joyce and I had a moment this week. Yeah, we had a moment this week where I don't need to tell you that I'm an erotic Jewish middle-aged man from New York. I don't need to, it just by looking at me. I've said it many times. I'm an erotic middle-aged Jewish. So, and I have my fear trigger things. I don't like gunshots anywhere, but I don't like them on stage. Certainly I get really panicky if I know there's a gunshot coming up in a show. So gunshots, absolutely not. I'm freaky about needles and blood tests and vaccination and stuff like that. I just don't like anything going in subcutaneously into my body that's, more painful or tinier than a finger going in my nose, which I'm fine with. Everything else, leave it, don't puncture me. So, I went through absolute paroxysms of fear and loathing, like the times I had to get my COVID shots and the boosters and all that shit. So, I've got that. And related to vaccinations is this: I don't like the idea and the fear of being stung by a stinging kind of a insect thing, right? I'm not afraid of spiders. They're a little ooky, but if I see a spider, I'll blow on it. I'll take it outside. I'll stomp on it if I need to. Spiders, roaches are gross, but you see a roach, you kill it. Nobody, a roach gets on my hand. It's like, but it's like, roach, who cares? But a stinging insect of any kind freaks me out. When I was a child, and we were out in the park walking around.
Didn't you have a bad incident with the bee in a sukkah?
Yes.
Is that what started your bee sukkah? I don't know the full.
I must have already been afraid of them to some extent. But if I was a child and we'd be walking around in like Brooklyn and there'd be trees or whatever, and suddenly a bee would come, I'd be, bee, and I'd start running down the street, bee. See, I still do that. I still do that. I remember I was at the Eugene O'Neill Center in Waterford, Connecticut. And we would all, before we go group and sit around picnic tables and talk about theater and stuff, there was a porch of the building, the house that Eugene O'Neill lived in. It was a lovely house, but he was miserable in it. And I'm sitting there and we're having some.
Why was he miserable? Because of his family?
His family, yeah. I mean, he had a, I don't want to get into the whole Long Day's Journey.
When he was a kid, was it Long Day's Journey? Was it as an adult or was it when he was?
Medium. He was kind of child growing into adolescence with a father who was always parsimonious, worried about money, and felt that he hadn't made his bones. And
successful.
He was very successful, the father. He did well, but he was the Count of Monte Cristo, and that typed him. So he never became the great actor he thought he was going to be. So he was always really, it's a Long Day's Journey. Read the play. It's Eugene O'Neill. Yeah, you know it very well. So, but the point is, he grew up. They had two houses, and that was like their Connecticut house, and it was sort of stingily made. But for anybody who lives in New York in an apartment, it was it's like you look at it, and it's right by, it's a quarter mile from the ocean. It's beautiful, but for him, it's kind of dark, it's kind of gloomy, depressing. The fog would roll in at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so he'd look out there, and it felt very grim for him. Now you look at that cottage and you're like, $4 million, I'll take it.
It's
just different. Different energy.
Perspective,
Or someone like you would find the energy in it. You feel like this was not a happy place. I don't want this sitting for 10 minutes.
In the house there, I remember like Dan Sullivan was in our cabin. He had air conditioning because he was like the special guest.
Yeah.
And then we didn't. And I remember I was sitting outside reading, and then some guy or woman came up to me and said, "You should move from there." And I said, "Why?" And they said, "The thing above you is a wasp's nest." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah. Well, you're like, all right. Me, I notice a wasp nest above where I'm sitting, and I'm like, I can't sit here.
You see that
at the O'Neill. And then you were telling the story when I was a kid. I was like the perfect student in elementary school. Never made a peep. Never gave teachers any. I did pee. We won't get into that, but never gave teachers any and straight A and all that sort of thing. But I do remember we had school in the summer, in like June, not late summer, but early June. It was warm as hell. There was no air conditioning, so they had the windows open. And I remember a bee flew in and started crawling on my yarmulke. I mean, I couldn't tell, but I kind of knew. I could sort of sense because it kind of went. I knew it had to be.
You know where it landed.
Yeah, I can literally. I don't have eyes.
No, I was
up
going to
here.
say, like, did someone say, "David, there's a bee"?
I think they actually did. I think some kid whispered next to me, "There's a bee on your yarmulke," which is probably not telling me something I already sort of know. Now, is there anything more terrifying, not only than a bee, but a bee you can't see that you know is on you?
But he's not on your head, he's on material.
Well, a material on my head.
I know.
At any moment, the bee could make a decision
Oh,
to
yeah.
be
Yeah.
somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sweating, I'm panicking, and then I think it flew off and I survived. But I'm very.
There was something in a sukkah in school where they.
In the sukkah, well, no, they would also on Sukkot, which is this Jewish holiday that lasts 7 fucking days. You go into this, you build this makeshift tent with leaves on the top and flowers and garland, and then during the school term
During food
for
time,
lunch, we would go out there and have make the kiddush on the thing, and not wine, but on apple juice or grape or whatever, and have a little apple and traditional things to teach us the prayers, to teach us about sukkahs. But you would go into the sukkah, it was already
90 degrees.
Well, when was sukkah? I mean, that's the weird thing. Sukkahs would have been
It's fall, right?
yeah,
I can't tell, I don't have my phone, but
probably during October.
yeah.
But it was still warm enough and nice enough, especially on a sunny day. And there was food out, there was apples and there was honey and leaves on top.
Oh,
So you would go there and there'd be fucking bees crawling all over the table, like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
And here we are, school children, herded into this room. There's no door that shuts, it's an open
It's
thing.
like a tent.
Yeah, it's essentially a tent.
Mhm.
You're right. And we're trying
The
to,
bee tent.
and all I want to do is get the hell out of there. All I want to do is be jetpacked through the thatch roof and get out of there, because I'm trying to do
Did
prayers.
anybody else have this?
Well, I don't think anybody was happy about seeing bees, but a lot of people are like you, like bee. I'm 50 times bigger than it. So what the hell can it do
More
me?
than 50 times bigger than a bee. You're
Am
like
I?
thousands of times.
Am I?
A bee's like teeny tiny.
Well, all right, but all right, more than 50. You're right, a lot more than 50 times. But I'm saying even so,
Oh, is it?
it's like, how much bigger are you than a bullet?
A bee's than a bullet.
Well, in a manner of speaking, if you figure it's going to come at you and hurt you, or a wasp or a hornet, which are really nasty things,
Why didn't you tell your teacher you have a bee phobia?
well, it wasn't even I'm not phobic.
Be like,
It isn't irrational. What? I survived that. That's right. I had teachers.
Yeah, be like, and you're afraid of a bee?
I don't think I think my teachers were young enough that they weren't survived, but their parents were.
Yeah.
And so it's like, they're showing us movies of Jews being incinerated and herded and shot in the Holocaust. It's like, you're worried about a bee. Be happy it's not Mengele.
Oh God.
So I would say that I am neurotic about bees. I'm not phobic. Phobic is an irrational fear. Neurosis is a legitimate fear that's exaggerated beyond proportion. Well, it is. It is. Being afraid of clowns, that's kind of irrational.
Well, when I was a child, they made me sit. I didn't like the Santa. I got some bad juju from him.
Yeah.
On a stage at like not Milleridge Inn, but someplace like that. And I remember they wanted me to sit with the Santa, and I didn't want to. And he's like, "Oh, I'll give you the coloring book." I don't want the coloring book. So my mom went and got the coloring book, but I don't have fears of Santa.
You don't, but there are people who are Santophobic, and there's no reason to. First of all, Santa doesn't exist, and so it makes no rational sense. Yeah, I mean, movies will play upon that. There have been not just Billy Bob Thornton's Bad Santa, and by the way, that fits in because
Krampus,
David Spero
Krampus.
repped Billy Bob Thornton. Yeah, Krampus, and the fear of that. And
But get back to your bee. So
well, the bee thing, because I got like 10 minutes. The guest is already. Thank you, David. He's checked in. So in 10 minutes, we'll be talking to David Spero.
He can't hear you.
Oh well, he could be watching the show, maybe.
I don't think you want to get feedback. Go ahead.
Oh, anyway, so I have a fear, and it's long-standing. It's probably 50-something years old now of bees. I don't think. I'm not going to give a kanina hura, whatever. I don't think I've ever actually been stung, or if I have, I haven't known about it. So it's nasty. Yeah. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's a nasty thing, and my fear of it is out of proportion to the actual pain, whatever. Unless, of course, you accidentally stumble onto a wasp's nest or a beehive.
Unless you're somebody like there are people, David, who have allergies to the bee sting. So like,
Well, yeah.
some people, you don't know it, but they might get the bee sting and go into anaphylaxis. So that could be.
Not to mention, I grew up as a kid with so many allergies that it could be very well that what my fear as a kid was like, well, I'm allergic to milk, I'm allergic to corn and corn syrup, I must be, bee stings me, I'm probably going to blow up like a balloon. Didn't know it. Don't know it now, but I doubt it very highly. So, but still, I'm afraid of them. So Joyce and I are going to grab some takeout lunch this week. It was like Monday or Tuesday of this week.
We tried a new place that was, very like lower cost than others, but a very good recommendation.
Yeah, like a dinery breakfasty.
Yeah.
And we wanted to try something different, something new, and it looked good. And it was like literally a little more than half the price of another place that we've gone to. That was very good. But I said, well, let's try this place, and the reviews are good.
And it's so close to the house.
Yeah. So we drive over. We would call the thing in. I'm waiting and I'm pissed off. I'm waiting because I hate that. You call in an order. It really should be there within 5 minutes.
No, you didn't call in. You did it online, and it gave you a time. We do it for the bagel place. And the bagel place, when it says like 12:59, it's usually ready 12:59 or 1:05.
Yeah, right.
So, but this place, what we didn't know for now, we know for next time, they will text you when the food's ready.
Yeah.
So that
but they gave me an approximate time by which we drove to the place. And the approximate time was like 20 minutes off.
We were hangry that day.
Yeah, I was hangry, and it was also much later than they said. This should be ready by this, right? So I'm sitting there
I wrote that in the review too. I said the food was delicious, but the wait was long.
So I'm a little keyed up and ticked off, but we get the food and we're deciding we go back to the car. And we walk to the car, we walk over this little mound of grass and earth, which may have been where this happened. I'm not sure. Get in the car.
It was
in the parking lot.
Their beauty school too. That might have,
because of the sprays and whatever. So, I'll close the car, put the thing, turn, and then car's on, and we're going to drive home. It's up like a mile away from home. So, and we can smell the food. It's hot. It smells really good. And we're both hungry.
Yeah, we're hungry. We love food. Like that's our normal check.
So I look over at Joyce to make sure she's strapped in and we're ready to go. And she's wearing her usual kind of like a pullover. What do you call your
like
t-shirt?
My gym shirt. It's like
a
tank top, and I'm wearing long gym pants, the wide leg gym pants.
Long black gym pants. I'm in shorts. She's in long black gym pants, which is what she wears. And so I look and I glance down, and literally right in my field of vision, on her left quad, if you will, over, set off against the black gym pants is a yellow jacket, right? Or as they say, a yellow jacket, right? Not just like a cute little bee, like a yellow jack bee.
Yeah.
Not a wasp, thank God, not a hornet, but a bee.
Yeah.
I immediately panic. I complete in 0 seconds to a quarter second.
From rage to hunger.
I know. I was fine. I was. The food came and looked good. They were very nice. I'm fine. And then, but I go from like okay on the way home to absolute complete mind lost panic, right? And now I'm like, I look at Joyce. I'm like, get out of the car! I'm screaming at, get out of the car! And she has no idea. It doesn't occur to me while I'm saying it that she has no idea why.
I'm like,
did David put a bomb in the trunk and he wanted to kill me, but he changed his mind at the last minute?
No idea. I'm like, is somebody trying to rob the car? Like, what is he? Is there something wrong with the car? And then you began to put it in reverse and forward, and the gears grinded, and you were driving backward into the car.
I couldn't like. Didn't have the mental capacity to try and just stop the car and get out.
No.
So I'm like, why isn't it? I'm pulling the thing and it's going backwards when I want to go forward, or just because I want to go forward, not to go forward, but to stop.
Yeah, and also there's a car behind us, and they're like completely chill. Like this must happen in the beauty school every day.
Because think that we're in this big parking lot, and the car's pretty far behind us. But while all this is going on in my head, the car's rolling backward, and if I hadn't figured out how to stop it, it would have slammed into this other car. But
that was my fear. I didn't care about what I didn't know.
The bee, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm panicking like crazy.
Oh,
I'm
you know
literally
what I
not
said? I
thinking
said,
rationally.
take the key out, take the
Yeah,
key out.
yeah, which is the only, because also at the same time,
Yes.
as I'm trying to stop the car, I'm also trying to pull my,
But you weren't clicking the red part, so you were trying to
Yeah.
get out of the seatbelt, but you weren't
my hand was going like this, but I couldn't find the
Yeah.
unlatched part
The clicker,
of the
yeah.
seatbelt to get out. So I'm trying to stop the car, also trying to wiggle out from the two straps of the seatbelt. Eventually, like Joyce is like, just turn the car off. I'm able to like get the key out. And then still I can't get,
And I'm telling you, why not need to get out of the car?
I couldn't think of the word be. I don't know what the hell was in my, I was just like, but why couldn't you just get out of the
Because
car?
I had the food bag on me,
So?
my pocketbook, and I was strapped in, and you were going backward.
Yeah, the car was still moving and then, yeah. And so literally as the car is like off, I'm still pulling myself out from the straps because I can't bring myself properly to touch the latch to get out.
Yes.
And then eventually, I'm like, the door's open.
Yes.
I was like, get out of the car, right? And finally get out of the car.
Yeah.
And I was like,
And I just shooed the bee off my quad. I brushed him off and we got back in the car.
it was probably an old dying bee.
Yeah.
Yes, it was an old, because it didn't really, it wasn't just like sitting there, it was really chill, thank goodness, because we made the bee mad.
Yeah, with all your flailing and pinning.
Or me, you're the one, you have long pants on, I had shorts, you have more flesh.
And the whole ride home, you kept brushing your leg.
Now, there's a part 2 to the story that we'll tell later in the show, because there really, honest to God, is a part 2 to this. But this is how I almost killed both of us this week, just by noticing a bee on my wife's thigh, on her leg in the car. This is true. This is me. I've lived 59 and a half years.
That's amazing.
Somehow I've survived.
That's why I think you jumped the show to 991, because you felt you lived about 90 years in that moment.
Yeah, I'm amazed I didn't physically go white in my hair.
And then,
the whole time.
but the interesting part is after we got home, the food was delicious.
Yeah, no, yeah, the food was great.
Although I did do a little song and dance for the neighbors.
That's part 2. That we'll get into. First, we have our guest. We have David Spero coming into the Daverhood, like right now, to talk to Rabbi Saul Solomon about his years as a rock band and rock artist manager, his years on radio. He was also part of Columbia Pictures for a while. I mean, he's a major dude. So we've got an interview with him. And then our trivia quiz. Then we'll get to part 2 of the story and Greeley Crimes and Old Times and our Colorado Limerick on Dave's Gone By. Don't go away. Let's play the Rabbi's intro music. Let's klezmify ourselves with Rabbi Saul Solomon.
Unmute, start video.
Shalom.
There we go.
Shalom, shalom, my friends, shalom, my enemies. This is your old pal, Rabbi Saul Solomon, the founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And it is a thrill and a delight for me this morning, this Shabbos, to talk with this person right here. I must be my glasses because he's perfectly clear, but everything behind you is blurry. What kind of world are you living in? It's
one of those weird ass things, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if you have a weird ass. Your head looks pretty good. It's David Spero. Oh my God, he's the author of a memoir called A Life in the Wings, written with Kim A. Zonneville. It came out just last year about his life literally in the wings of major rock and roll artists and bands. We're talking people like Harry Nilsson and Joe Walsh and Cat Stevens and people like and Michael Stanley. Plus, he also was there, not New York, but Cleveland, but was there in the early freeform days of FM radio. So there's so much to talk about with this fella who's on camera right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, won't you welcome to the Daverhood and give a big shalom to David Spero. Shalom, David.
Shalom, Sal. I can't believe I'm in your presence. This is very early in the morning, by the way.
And when you're in California, one of those California people now?
No. I'm on the East Coast time. I just got back from Alaska, so I'm like 4 hours behind.
All right. This is I can make a joke about being 4 hours behind, but it would not be for the children. So,
There we go, talking about my ass again. There we are.
So, how was your trip? I don't know, Alaska. No, but how was your trip to Alaska?
You know, it was my 50th state. I've now visited every single state, which was big.
Including the state of confusion. Yes. And just no.
Oh, okay, yeah. We've been trying to get there for 4 years because of COVID, and finally got there. And it was worth the wait.
What was the best? What was your favorite thing to see or do there?
You know, seeing the wildlife. I mean, whales everywhere. It was crazy. It was. They
were at the Starbucks singing around with everywhere.
Yeah, they were everywhere. I'm seriously. We did the cruise, and it's like you're just sitting out on the balcony, and there's 3 or 4 of them just doing, their thing, and watching bear literally taking salmon out of the water as they're coming down the falls and just eating them, and you're like 20 feet away.
Well, wait. How is that safe? I mean, would you really feel safe watching a bear that could lumber at you rather quickly?
Well, we were on a pretty big ship. He was just across the way from us. So, yeah, I felt, if he was going to take a leap onto the balcony on the 11th floor, God bless.
Now, let me ask you, David Spero, because I really want to get to your life and your career and all of this. Yeah. Because what a wonderful, in some ways, I have to say, charmed life, even from childhood, where most kids, well, what does your father do? Well, he's a lawyer, he's an accountant, he does this, he drives a car. No, your dad was in TV. This is so exciting. So
it's pretty cool.
Tell us some stories about your father basically working and running and doing camera and all this stuff at a TV station back in what, the 50s?
Well, he started in the 40s when TV first started. He was one of the first, Cleveland is actually one of the very first TV markets in the country. And he was on the first TV station in Cleveland. So he was kind of inventing, the process for, what became network TV. With the Upbeat TV show, since we didn't really have syndication like we have now with satellites and, all that digital, he invented something called bicycle syndication so that he could get his show out all over the country. And what he did, he came up with this concept of, well, there's 10 major cities. So we'll make 10 copies of the first show and send them out to those guys. And then they'll play it and they'll send it to the next 10 cities and the next 10 cities and the next 10 days. So for the Upbeat show, it took almost 2 months before it to play out, before it had been seen all across the country. Well, the record labels went crazy because they're like, oh, well, we know on this week it's going to be in Kansas City, and on this week it's going to be in Pittsburgh, and on the, so they could plan promotion accordingly. And it was very easy to break records for them that way, knowing where the show is going and where their artist is going to be, and promoting it with radio at the same time. And it was a pretty genius.
No, it's a brilliant idea.
I thought we were going to toast.
Oh, l'chaim
And,
to life and to music and to all good things. I'm sorry. This is hot tea with honey and matzo meal in it. It's really good.
this is iced tea with honey, actually. So we're doing the honey thing together. But you know, the syndication is what exploded the show, of course, and the labels just loved it. So they knew, like, if it's Tommy James and the Shondells, and week 1 they're in the top 10 markets.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they made a lot of money.
Yeah, money and more money. Yes, yes. But
what did you do at the
well,
station to help your dad?
okay, so I'm 13 years old, and my dad has this idea to take top 40 radio to television. He had been watching like the Dick Clark stuff and some of the other local things, the dance party shows, you know. And Upbeat was not a dance party show. Upbeat was more Ed Sullivan than dance party, because he wanted to take, like I said, top 40, meaning taking 8 or 9 acts and putting them on one show in the 1 hour concept. And maybe having one dance number where Dick Clark would have like Frankie Avalon sing 2 songs, you know, lip sync 2 songs, and all the rest were dance numbers, you know, where the kids danced to the records while they played them. So he wanted to take the performers and put them on live. And then he also wanted to take, you know, like Mitch Ryder and have him sing with Otis Redding. And he wanted to, you know, take Johnny Nash and have him sing with Billy Joe Royal. I mean, he would do all these weird combinations of having them do songs live together. And it just wasn't a concept that had started yet. You know, it was
It was Midnight Special.
Long before Midnight Special and Hullabaloo and Shindig and all those shows. And it was, you know, it really was life-changing.
How were you involved as a 13, 14, 15-year-old? Were you holding cue cards? Were you
Yeah, that was how
camera?
it started. My first gig was, you know, holding up the cards for the host. And as that kind of progressed and my musical tastes were getting a lot stronger, you know, I'm now 14, right in the middle of the music of what's happening. And I'm telling my dad, oh, you know what? Here's this really cool record from Jay and the Techniques, or here's this great song I just heard. We should get these people, or whatever it happened to be. So by the time I was like 14, 15, I was helping to write the show.
Oh.
And my dad wanted to know the questions that I wanted to hear from the artist, not that he wanted to hear. And so I started writing all the questions, and I became associate producer when I was 15 years old. I was making $20 a week, you know, which wasn't bad.
I don't even make that now.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Bastards, yes.
1964 money. Look what $20 is. You know, that was probably, you know.
Who was the most famous person who ever appeared on Upbeat? Was it Otis Redding, or who was like the biggest of the biggest?
The Beatles, I would have to say.
The Beatles.
Yeah, there were these 4 guys from Liverpool, George, Paul, Ringo, and John, or something
and
like
Moish.
that.
Yeah, remember Moish? He was the 5th. He was quiet. He was the real.
Yeah, he was the 5th Beatle, of course.
So wait a minute. So you
I
met?
thought it was Shlomo was the 5th Beatle.
Who? I missed that.
Shlomo.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. He was very, very talented, but just nobody. It was too early to bring the didgeridoo into popular.
Exactly.
Do you have any memories of the day that the Beatles were on Upbeat?
Oh, very much so. I mean, it was, they didn't perform. It was just an interview. But being a kid and being in the room with these guys as they're exploding in in 1964, it was pretty heady stuff, you know.
Oh yeah, all right. I mean, because you ended up in later years. Obviously, sometimes you would hang with Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr and stuff like that. But I
Right.
didn't realize you had that early moment of them in the room. Do you have that
Yeah.
footage? Was it wiped? Were these kinescopes that were wiped, or just somewhere in your
Oh no,
father's
no.
basement?
I mean, the good part about like when they did interviews, it was all film at that point. They couldn't take videotape to the hotel room, to the hotel room to do it or wherever they were doing the interviews.
Right.
So yeah, we have all of that film.
Well, what about all these episodes of Upbeat? Are they
Yeah, they don't
saved?
exist.
What?
Unfortunately, they don't exist. There's lots of clips
Good. All right.
because it was so expensive at that point to keep videotape, and it had to be at a certain temperature, and the tapes themselves were thousands of dollars in 1964. A can of tape might have been $2,000, and you're doing 10 copies of that going out every
Oh yeah. All right.
yeah, it was way too, and as smart as my dad was, he never thought we'd ever have home videotape,
Even syndication to cable TV back in the day. That
Right.
still want to
Yeah.
show these things. So, what is a piece of footage that is presumably lost that you wish still existed? Like, was there one act? Was there one episode when, oh my God, I would just love to see that again, but it's in the
Well,
air.
you know what it was? It was certain people. It was like Bob Seger used to do the show at least every 6 weeks. Nobody knew who Bob Seger was. He was this guy from Detroit. I think the first time he was on the show was in a band called the Mushrooms, and the other guy in the band was this kid Glenn Fry, who I don't know.
Well, if you fry up some mushrooms, they taste pretty good. So I get
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, what it was is the Mushrooms and the James Gang kind of all became friends. So the James Gang could go up to Michigan and open for the Mushrooms and have an audience. Mushrooms could come down to Cleveland, open for the James Gang to have an audience.
Anyway. So did
So
you
we
end up?
all were,
Yeah.
yeah. And Joe, before the gang, was in a band called the Measles, as in, hey, catch the measles Friday night,
All right. I was in a band called the Herp. Did not go any.
Yeah, that was that band was a little sketchy, so to speak.
Yeah,
But
yes.
but the Measles used to back up the bands on Upbeat. A lot of Upbeat was lip sync. So here's Joe with his band behind Bobby Goldsboro. Little thing that we do.
Wait. So what was lip sync? I thought they were playing live. Or
No, it's a combination of the two.
all right, okay.
It's a combination of the two.
But do you mind if I fast forward, since you already mentioned now Glenn Fry and Joe Walsh, which are maybe your most famous quote unquote claim to fame in terms of people that you never repped the Eagles, or did you? But you repped Walsh, or how did that all happen?
Well, I'd been managing Joe for a while, and we were at a point where no one was really sure what was happening. And just out of nowhere, I get a phone call from Glenn, who I'd known, of course, from early Eagle days. One of my bands, the Michael Stanley Band, used to open for the Eagles constantly. So, we were all friends, and I had known Glenn since the Upbeat days. And I suggested him, I said, hey man, you're playing like really small gigs. I think that if you and Joe got together, we could do a 1 + 1 = 4. And he's like, I don't know, a lot of water under the bridge. They hadn't talked at that point in probably 8 or 9 years. So I set Glenn up on a radio show with a friend of mine. And I dropped him off at the radio show, and I went down to my car because you couldn't carry your phone with you then. You had to go to your car, And I called Joe Walsh, and I said, hey, Joe, you need to call up the radio station and hype your show. And then I came back up to the studio, and I watched the phone ring. And I didn't tell Joe that Glenn was there, and I didn't tell Glenn that Joe was calling. And I didn't even tell the host, who, by the way, was Michael Stanley at that point. He was doing radio, that what was going on. And I just sat back and watched it. And the producer says to Michael Stanley, "Hey, man, Joe Walsh is on line 1." He gets it in his ear. Glenn doesn't hear it. And he goes, "Oh, my God," and he says, "Hey, Glenn, you'll never guess who's on the phone." And Glenn's like, Aretha Franklin. He goes, "No, Joe Walsh."
Rabbi Sullivan? No, it wasn't me.
Yeah. And Glenn's like, giving me the finger and mouthing certain words to me, like, "I can't believe you're doing this." But all of a sudden they're on the phone together, and it's like they saw each other yesterday. And there was so much love between the two of them. They were just, Michael didn't get to say a word. It was just the two of them catching up live on the radio. And afterwards, Glenn says to Joe, as he was ending the call, he says, "I'm doing Rocky Mountain Way tonight, just for you. I'm in Cleveland. I'm doing your song." And we get in the car afterwards, and Glenn's like, "Don't ever do something like that to me again." And I said, "Well, I thought it was good for you guys to talk." "Yeah, well, it's not going to happen. This isn't going to happen." He goes, "It's just, this is ridiculous." And he was a little pissed off, until about 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from him, and he says to me, "We're playing at, they're out in LA at the Universal Amphitheater." Glenn was.
Right, yeah.
And he says, "And man, I've sold like 300 tickets. Maybe we should try this Joe Walsh thing." So I set it up for Joe and Glenn to go on one of the big morning shows in LA on KLOS the next morning, announce the fact that they were going to be playing together on stage the whole time. A Glenn song, a Joe song, a Glenn song, a Joe song, but they'd be doing Eagles and James Gang and solo stuff and all of that. And before the radio show was over, it was sold out.
Wow.
And we went and did the show, and after the show, Glenn said, I think this could work. What are you thinking?" And it was kind of weird, because I had about 3 weeks later, I had a couple corporate shows set up for Joe Walsh. And corporate shows are, where companies are doing the big event for their people, and they hire these big rock and roll bands to come and play for way too much money. And we had one on a Saturday, and then the following Saturday, both down in Florida, both in Orlando. So I said to Glenn, I said, "What if I get the money doubled, get you on these shows as well, and in the middle, I'll call a promoter, we'll go play 4 cities in Florida and just see if it works." I mean, LA, you can't, you go on LA radio, you say, "We're putting 2 Eagles together." There's enough people there that if you can't sell 3,000 tickets, you probably shouldn't be out on the road to begin with, And so I called a promoter friend of mine. I made a deal to do these cities, and everyone sold out. And we went on to do about a 45 city tour that summer, and do an incredible business. We were doing 20,000 people a night. It was ridiculous.
So your job as a promoter, as a manager.
Well, no, as a manager. Yeah.
Are you always putting out fires? What is the main, or just make on the phone all day saying, "I want to book him here"? What's the fee?
That's pretty much, yeah. It's just, you're flying off by the seat of your pants. It's once Glenn said yes, I called a promoter that I knew down in Florida, and I just said, "Look, we'll pretty much work for, the back end. We'll give us a small guarantee, and then after we pay all the expenses, we'll split up the money and see what goes." It was incredibly successful.
Right. And later on, you managed Joe Walsh himself, right? Didn't you? You went on at a certain point to Were you managing both of them at some point, or one and the other, or what?
Well, no, when we did this tour, it was Joe and Glenn.
It was Joe and Glenn together.
Yeah, yeah. It was called POT, the Pot Tour, Party of Two.
That makes me ask, since this was the rock era, and you repped and managed a lot of those rock men, was some of that trying to deal with, they smashed up a hotel room, he's on heroin, I mean, did you ever have to deal with that kind of, like, oi, I better stop my client before he dies, kind of a thing?
Well, there's that. There was a time when if my phone rang after 10 o'clock, I thought Joe was dead. I mean, I would dread a phone call late at night thinking something happened to him. And when, the timing was, everything happens for a reason, Rabbi. The man upstairs has a plan for us. He takes care of it. We just either get it done or we don't. That's what it comes down to. And as we were getting closer and had some meetings with all of the Eagles and Irving Azoff and trying to figure this thing out, because towards the end of the tour, I was getting calls from Irving saying, hey, Don wants to come by. Don Henley wants to come by. And, at first, Glenn's favorite line, he'd come off the stage every night and he'd go, what a concept, the Eagles without Irving and Henley,
Oh, boy.
And we were having a blast. It was the most fun tour I can tell you that I ever did.
Did you have to physically go to all these cities, or were you just back in Ohio?
No, I pretty much hit every date because it was that important.
Yeah.
And Glenn used to tell me on a regular basis, this is never turning into the Eagles. Don't even think about it. Well, of course, hell finally froze over. And, at the time it went on to be the biggest tour in the history of touring.
Wow. Mazel.
We were the first $100 ticket.
All right.
And it was done for a multitude of reasons. When the Eagles first got back together, the plan was to do maybe a dozen shows. Just, go out, do it, and then everybody go back to where they'd been, But tickets sold so fast and everybody was just jumping on the bandwagon, wanting to get shows that, hell freezes over lasted about 2.5 years.
Oh my God. Wow. So none of my business, but are you comfortably well off after all these years in the music? You can do what you want, even though you're still managing people and you're 79 years old or something? How old are you?
I'll be 72.
I got my numbers. What? You started so young. Oh my God! Oh, you look so damn good. You must
I was class of '69. I'll eat yours if you'll eat mine. We're the class of '69.
Yeah, like this. I tried to do 69 last night, but I wrenched something in my back.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means. Hey, it's Shabbos, you're allowed. But here's
anyhow, so it turned into this big tour, which ended up turning into the Eagles.
Yeah.
And I didn't manage the Eagles and I didn't manage that tour, but I still managed Joe, and I was still, working with Glenn and at one point with Don Felder. So I was very involved with my artists in that tour. But, the Eagles, that's Irving Azoff from A to Z, as you want to put it. You know what I mean?
By the way, I do want to mention that not only are we talking with David Spero, and his book is called A Life in the Wings, which he wrote with Kim A. Zongabil, and it's from Mumford Press, which you can get in all the usual places books are. But you have a sandwich at Jack's Famous Deli named after you. Is this true?
It's actually a salad. It's David's veggie chop. I don't eat meat.
You're a vegetarian there?
I'm pescatarian. I eat fish, but that's because of heart attacks and stuff. But I haven't had any meat for probably 45 years.
You miss it?
Yeah, no.
Not at all. No. And you have, let me take personal life, wife, kids, grandkids, anything like that?
My son just turned 44 last week. That's why we were in Alaska. We went had a big birthday party for him on the ship. Big birthday party is him and his wife, me and my wife, and a waiter with a candle. But
All right. It's
it is
Alaska.
what it is.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And my wife and I have been married for going on 46 years.
Mit Mazel, Mitglick. Wait, I can't believe we're.
And the same one, not like, like as Walsh once told my son, he goes, yeah, I've been married as long as your parents, but just 6 different women.
Now, I can't believe we're almost, because we want you to stay and play the trivia game with Dave and the usual panelists there. We only have a couple of more minutes, and I have this list of questions about so many different, I don't even know which to ask, so you're going to come back on the show another time and talk about those. But
well, we can do that. I'll tell you, one of my favorite people that I've worked with, and I was such a fan of his in my radio days, was Cat Stevens.
Yusuf Islam. Did you rep him at the time when people hated him because it was post 9/11 and he turned Muslim and we were all like, hello?
Well, see, the thing is, people get their facts really mixed up. I know that seems weird in these days where if a politician speaks, it's got to be the truth. But he became a Muslim in 1976.
All right.
Yeah, 9/11 hadn't quite happened yet. It was 7-8 days away. So that was a choice he had made, and if you listen to his music, he's been on this search. He'd been on this search his entire life. Miles from Nowhere, Where Do the Children Play, Wild World. All of these songs were about his search, and he had tried all these different religions. He'd become a very devout Jew and lived in Israel. He'd become a Buddhist. He
should have stuck with Judaism.
Yeah, well,
he didn't take hostages in Iran, I'll tell you that.
The interesting thing is, if you read the Quran and you read the Torah, they intersect in so many places.
Well, the knock-knock jokes. They use a lot of the same knock-knock jokes.
Like the old Polish jokes.
Right, yeah.
But seriously,
Deuteronomy has more Helen Keller jokes in it, but just
but he was on this search, and when he read the Quran that his brother had given him, and the first words are "peace is love, love is peace," he said, "This is what I've been looking for my whole life."
So when did you take him on as a client, as it were?
We'd known each other back in the late 60s, early 70s, when I was on the radio and was just a huge fan of his music. So the record label was always getting us together for interviews and stuff like that. And it was just by chance that we met up in the 2000s when he decided to come back and do music again. I was doing a project with another client, with Dickie Betts from the Allman Brothers. We were doing a DVD, and I'm calling the president of the company that we're doing the DVD with, and just to chat about stuff. And I'm told, oh, he's got somebody in his office who'll call you back. What I don't realize is in the guy's office, the secretary is like, David Spero, line 3. And Yusuf says, David Spero from Cleveland? And the guy said, yeah. He goes, is he still on the radio? He goes, no. He manages, Joe Walsh and Dickie Betts and all these guys. And Yusuf says, well, God, I used to know him really well. Would you give me his number? And the next day, I'd been running errands. My wife said, a guy said his name was Yusuf something, but you knew him as Cat Stevens. And I said, oh, so how's my brother doing, And she goes, no. I think that if I could figure out what Cat Stevens sound like talking, this was him. Said,
oh, you know, yeah.
I just figured it's my brother, goofing around. And she said he's going to call you like in an hour. Well, to the minute, the phone rings, and we're just talking. And he's, next thing I know, I'm on a plane to New York that same day. I took the 8 o'clock plane to New York. We had dinner. And, by bedtime, I was managing Cat Stevens, Yusuf.
Now,
And
what do you do with a client? Because you do Joe Walsh and Glenn Frey. It's enormous. What do you do with a client who was very big at a certain point and is now not forgotten, but also not at that level? I mean, what calculations do you make in terms of where they can play, what labels they're on, how much promotion, and what the budget is for all that? How do you?
everything, you have to treat each one differently. It's one thing to have a band like Survivor, which I had for a while, and get them on every oldies tour you can find. That's pretty easy. Or get a package with them and Loverboy, or
Right.
them and Money, or somebody else. Those things are pretty easy. With Yusuf, it was a different thing because it was such a world moment that he was coming back to music, and it was all built-in press. It was much more than, oh, Joe has a new record. This was like, here's a guy that made an impact for many, many years, and now he's coming back with new music. And he had asked me to co-produce the record that he did, the Road Singer record. And he says, I don't know any musicians, I don't know producers, I don't know, you need to put this band together. And I'm like, well, when do you want to do the record? He goes, well, if we could do it starting like next week or something, would be great. And I'm like, are you serious? And he goes,
Oh my God.
well, I want to do it. He said, I want to do it on the West Coast. He says, I've been listening to a lot of California music, and I want to make a Cat Stevens California record.
So did you get Warren Zevon's band, like Waddy Wachtel and all those people? Or
No, I actually put together a little band. He didn't want us, obviously we could have gotten a superstar band without a problem. I had playing bass, I got Kenny Passarelli, who used to be in Barnstorm with Walsh and played with Elton John and Hall & Oates. And he, to me, was a perfect bass player for Yusuf, for the songs that we were looking to do. And I'd called Joe Vitale to play drums, who had played with Walsh, but he was on tour with Crosby, Stills and Nash at the time. And so I thought, well, we'll put the drummer aside. And
by the way, since all right, you dropped the name, we got to drop the name. That when Graham Nash was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing and then was being inducted, I guess, for one of the people that he thanked was you. Am I right?
Yeah, that blew me away. I got to tell you, I was sitting at a table with some friends of mine, and I'm not really paying attention to the speeches, and all of a sudden, the guy that I'm sitting with, he says, he just said your name, and I thought I heard it, and like 5 minutes later, when they're all back to the table, I went over to Graham and said, what the hell? What just happened? He goes, hey, you're the only one who's been telling me from day one, you're going to be in here as the Hollies, And it was something that he always wanted. And Graham, I'd known since the Upbeat days. The Hollies had done Upbeat, a few times. And yeah, it was, but going back to your question, the plan has, it really needs to be, and I hate to use the word organic, but that's really with something like with Yusuf, to bring him back into the mentality of not being this fighting the whole Muslim situation and getting, files from the FBI telling me that it would be probably best if we didn't, put him on the road and all those things at the time.
Wow.
But we did it through TV. It was like, okay, well, let's do the traditional things and get him on the Jimmy Fallon show when he was just taking over the Tonight Show, and we did Jay Leno out on the West Coast, and we did Charlie Rose on PBS, and we just really turned it into like this is a TV project, getting him on TV, telling his story. Stephen Colbert was one of those places we went to, and I think had probably the best effect of getting the word across, because I turned Colbert down 3 times because I didn't want it to be a joke. This is the old Stephen Colbert show where
when he was playing the conservative fake, right?
Being the pretend Republican, and I didn't want it to become this Muslim thing, and I finally got a call one day personally from Colbert, and he said, "You need to understand something. I will treat him with kid gloves. I promise you." He was the link between me, my brother, and my father. And when his music was the one thing that brought us together. And the day that he retired from the music scene, Stephen's dad died. And he said it was a combination of all of it. Here's somebody he would have looked to for solace, waiting for that next record. And he goes, I'll give you my firstborn. I'll sign a zillion books you can sell on Amazon.
It meant something to have that. Well, it means, not to interrupt, but it means so much to us to have David Spero on the program with us today. But I have to let in another guest coming in to play a trivia game with you, David. Oh yeah, okay. Just sticking around. I gotta go. I got my shul. They're waiting for me at the temple, and
Right.
they have a glass of tea with extra matzah meal for me. So that's waiting up there. So don't go away, David. Don't go away, all of you watching, because there's much more fun, if you can call this fun, on Dave's Gone By coming up. And do not go away. I'm gonna play some. I don't know if you ever repped this particular artist. If not, you should have. Check this stuff out. We are thrilled and delighted to have.
I love Ravi Shankar. That was so cool.
It was Rabbi Shankar, actually.
Rabbi Shankar.
Rabbi Shankar, not Rabbi. And look who's here. It's David Sheward, who is a theater critic. He writes for theaterlife.com, culturaldaily.com, and totaltheater.com. He's the former managing editor of Backstage, as well as the former president of the Drama Desk. He also has his own blog. It's called The David Desk. David is here he's joining us for the Today Yesterday trivia quiz with our new friend of the Daverhood, David Spero. So David, good morning to you. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good.
Oh, actually, I meant David 1 and David 2.
That wasn't
now
me,
3
was it?
Davids?
We have 2 Davids. We're hoping for a Leslie, but as ever.
That didn't look like me, though.
Well, you're both wearing glasses, so
That's true.
you got that going on.
Right. So knowing that we were going to do this trivia thing,
Right.
I thought I would try to come up with the ultimate rock and roll trivia question.
Ooh!
So let's see if I can catch you first, because I'm going to miss out on everything that you're going to ask me. All right.
Please.
So, what band? Every single member of this band is a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but the band has never been inducted.
The Rolling Stones?
No, they've been inducted.
I don't know.
What band? Hold on.
Not my cat. This is not.
Speaker Pick and the Yuckelmans. No, they were
Merv Griffin,
Merv Griffin.
because he wrote the Jeopardy music. Yeah.
You ready?
Is it? Wait. I haven't. Is it a rock or more of a pop band? Can you give us that clue?
Well, I mean, I don't go into category. I mean, it's not like Bobby Sherman or something like that. These are rock and roll guys, every one of them.
Well, since you worked with them, well, no, the Eagles would be in.
No, I didn't say I worked with them.
Oh,
No.
let's see. Oh, give me one more sec. Give me one. What
Okay.
band where all the individual members are in, but they?
The band
I
itself.
don't know, maybe Cream?
No,
Not, David.
because Cream's in,
Uh,
Clapton's in.
Blind Faith? No.
Ooh, that would have been a good one though.
No.
But Rick Gretsch was never inducted.
Leslie's coming in. Okay.
Oh, just I said, please join Zoom.
The Traveling Wilburys.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a great question or what?
Yes. Yes.
That
You
is
can
really
catch
good.
people, that's like the old thing where you go, do you know how do you spell POTS?
POTS.
Right, POTS spells POTS, right?
Yes.
Okay, spell POTS again.
POTSAGAIN.
Well, no, but POTS is
No.
POTS. Yeah. I just want to make sure you know how to spell POTS, because POTS is spelled POTS. And then I just want to know, what do you do at a green light?
You stop.
You
Yeah.
stop at a green light?
Oh!
Oh.
Oh, man, you go at a green light. I don't know where you got stopped from.
Because you're thinking.
All right, so here we are.
Just when we were starting to like
I'm
you.
awake now, by the way. I'm in my second cup of tea.
Yes. So let me
And,
explain the rules of the game, because we have Leslie hopefully logging in. Leslie Hoban Blake is also a theater critic for many. She was former actress and director as well. But for in recent years, she is the co-star of Two on the Aisle, which is a theater review show that has played on New York cable for many years and is now on YouTube. So she's trying to log on. She's here. Wait, unmute, Liz. You gotta unmute your mic.
She's got a nice mustache.
Give her the prompt to unmute, honey.
Yeah, I'm literally doing it as we speak, but it's not. Leslie, you gotta unmute. I keep hitting the
Do
unmute.
this.
So it's the Three Davids with a sense of humor show. Is that it?
Oh my God, it is three Davids.
Yeah.
It just occurred to me.
David show.
It's
Right.
three.
Yeah.
I feel like I
Well,
don't
they only
belong.
have
I
one.
feel very,
We are in
I
it.
feel very, very much a minority today.
You've never been a minority there, but no, but 3D.
Don't get me started, Dave.
Yeah. You're a woman. You're female, so that does qualify.
Thank you,
No, it's
thank
actually
you so much.
51%. You're not even technically a minority, are you? No.
I
more women than men.
have two. I was raised in two religions.
Mhm.
You know,
Fair enough. Anyway, how you doing, Leslie? Everything good?
I'm feeling. Yes, everything's terrific. How are you, Dave? David
Good.
Stewart. Hello,
Oh,
David.
who
Very
are
nice
you
to
talking to?
I can't forget anybody's name today. That's
By the
for
way, that's
sure,
David
right?
Spero. He
I
is
see.
a former rock FM DJ back in the freeform days, and also managed many bands and many places, things like
How
that.
great! I always wanted to be a DJ.
Really?
I dated a DJ, but I wasn't a DJ. David, where is your big crown?
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
Oh,
You're
David,
supposed to show it.
I don't think I
Sure.
got it in the mail yet.
Oh, I sent it 2 weeks ago.
I could grab a
haven't received it
yarmulke.
yet. I haven't received it yet. But a lot of
It's
people
my
are
Jughead hat.
a lot of people are stealing
Mail?
stuff from mail.
It was a large. I sent it in the same envelope you sent it because it fit.
what Leslie is talking about is David won the trivia contest last time, and so there's a crown that the winner gets. Leslie started this tradition where the winner initials it and then sends it on to the next winner. So it's now in the mail at some point. Maybe David Spero will be the next recipient. Maybe.
But
maybe
David
not.
Sheward will have to mail. After I sent it, I found this, which has my initials and your initials. No, wait a minute. Who's DGB? Your DGB? No,
Dave's
you're
gone
not.
by. Yeah.
Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah, you're
This
supposed to
is
keep the baby one.
LHB.
Yeah.
DGB 5623. So that must be when it started. It fell out of the bigger crown. I'm keeping this.
Focus in.
Bless you.
Excuse
This
me.
is to commemorate my first crown.
I
so I'm
just wanted to be
keeping that.
blessed, that's all.
Yeah.
New David, I'm terribly sorry. That was very rude. I just thought that it wouldn't take that long to talk about.
Yeah, but anyway, welcome all of you. Now, the Today Yesterday Trivia Quiz, David Spero has never played the game. So it's a quick explanation. They're trivia questions. And believe it, you're not meant to get most of these. Some of them are, or you're just guessing. But it's the fun of guessing, the fun of thinking aloud, even if you might give the question away. Everybody gets a question that's worth 2 points. There are 2 rounds that we go through, 6 questions. And then there's a tiebreaker question after that, which we do in a slightly different way. If you get the question right, you get 2 points. If you get it wrong, no penalty, but one of the other contestants gets to try and steal the question. Now, my only question to you right now, David Spero, our newbie, is can you kindly tell me a number between 1 and 6?
Sure, I could.
You have to say it out loud.
Oh, would you kindly tell me? Yes, you could. Yeah.
4.
4. Okay. Very few people ever take 4. That's cool. Okay. Spero is 4. Wait, if I do D, it's for David. If I do S for is Sheward or Spero. Spell SP.
And
SP is a
Sheward.
4. SH.
Yes.
So Leslie, you're 6, I assume.
Yes, please.
And David, you are what?
I'll be 3.
David Sheward.
What do I do if someone chooses 6 without knowing that it's mine?
Well, there have been people
Then
when
you have to
haven't
choose
shown
something
up.
else.
Yeah. So Joyce.
Oh, no, I can't do that. I can't play if that happens.
My darling and adorable wife has a die that she is rolling on the carpet here. She picked it's a 1. Nobody's got a 1. We got a 2. Anybody know? This can go on for a while. So Leslie, she just rolled a 6.
Oh, you just got a 6, eh? Good morning, adorable.
Thank you. Oh, Leslie, do you want to be first, second, or third?
I would
My
like to
wif's
be
rolling in the other
second
room
this time.
too, as a matter of fact.
I would like to be
but,
second this time.
She's rolling.
She's growing joints.
Well, no, it's legal now. I guess she can't. Leslie, what did you say you were going to be what?
I want to go second.
Leslie will go second. Okay, roll the dice again, please, Joyce. Joyce is my wife, David Spero, in case you know. 3, David Sheward. Would you like to be first or third?
Let me see. I'll be first.
David Sheward first, Leslie second. That means David Spero, you'll get the third question, which is kind of cool because then you'll have a chance to see how the game works, while David Sheward goes first. Are you ready, David, for the first question of our Today Yesterday quiz, live
Yes.
on July 1st, 2023? Here we go.
Yes.
Oh, one other thing I forgot to tell David Spero is not all, but some of the questions have to do with things that happened in history on July 1st. So it could have been 1,000 years ago. It's July 1st centric. So David Sheward, Today Yesterday, the year was, I need my glasses here, 1862. Tsar Alexander of Russia proves he's a friend of the Jews, sort of. On this date, he gave permission for the Jews to do what? It's a multiple choice. A, defend themselves against unauthorized pogroms. B, pack up and leave Moscow and move to nearby Roitov. C, buy land up to 10 acres. Or D, publish books.
Which of these is true?
Which of these, yes, did Tsar Alexander of Russia say yes to? Well, you can't. This is David Sheward's question. So
Let's see. All right.
if he gets it wrong, you might have that option, but it's David's question.
Yeah, if I get it wrong, then he rolls the dice, and whoever number comes up, they have the right to steal.
I see.
Okay, all right.
Boy, this is no wonder this isn't on TV. It is very confusing.
Well, we
this
seem
is
to have
like
lost
the
the
game
TV.
show on. That's like the game show on Friends that Joey Tribbiani had to become the host of.
All
It's
right.
not that confusing. You'll get it very quickly. The first
could
question
be-
goes to David Sheward.
It
Yeah.
could be any one of these.
Yes, it could.
I don't think it's 1860.
1862 was the year.
Okay, all right. So things could have changed by the time of Fiddler on the Roof, because it wouldn't be A. Otherwise, we'd have no Fiddler on the. We would have no Act 1 climax in Fiddler on the Roof. And it doesn't, he let them leave Moscow. The second was, he let them leave Moscow to go someplace else?
So I'll read the choices again. A, defend themselves against unauthorized pogroms.
Right.
Unauthorized pogroms. B, pack up and leave Moscow and move to nearby Roitov. C, buy land up to 10 acres. Or D, publish books.
So he didn't say if it's an authorized pogrom, you can't do anything. You just got to let them destroy your village.
Yeah.
Let's see. It doesn't sound like he would let them buy land if they were. I'll say D, publish books.
Is that your, wait, I got my noisy thing. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Well, you know this game cover to cover, David Sheward. That is the correct answer. On this date, in 1862, it's the one thing that Tsar Alexander... Hello? Who has...
My dog does not agree.
The
She
six
was pretty
dogs have
sure
it.
it was by land. She thought it was 1 if by land, 2 you buy sea.
3 you
I
publish.
forgot what that went.
Three by kibble. But no,
Oh.
3 you
I
publish.
like the one if by land. That's very funny.
now, by the way, the pogroms didn't really start against the Jews until Alexander was assassinated. So that was a little early for the whole pogrom thing anyway. And during Alexander's reign, he was pretty liberal. So instead, it wasn't that Jews were encouraged to get the hell out of Moscow. Jews were flocking to Moscow during that point because it was a pretty good time for them. He was a more liberal ruler. But Jews were still not allowed to own land.
Okay.
Did any of you ever read the Isaac Bashevis Singer stories?
A couple. I read.
One, there were quite a few of them.
Yeah.
Well, but he wrote about particular families. One was the Moscovits, I think that was the name, and they lived in Moscow, and they were allowed all the freedoms, and then slowly in the book the freedoms are taken away, and it was fascinating.
Welcome to America.
Just
Welcome
like
to
now,
America
just like here.
2023, right?
Just
Welcome
like
to
here,
Florida.
right, exactly.
All right.
Is that an endless cup?
His
His or
It just
mine?
goes
Oh,
and goes and goes.
Yeah.
No, we don't need a roll because we know
Okay.
that because David Sheward got 2 points. He got the
All
question
right.
right.
Go David S.
Okay.
This means Leslie Hoban
David
played.
S.H.
S.H.
David
that's right,
S.H.
you're right. Yeah.
Mr. Peabody.
Right. D. Spero. Right. Leslie, this question goes directly to you. Okay. Leslie,
Oh no.
guess what kind of question it is?
no, it's not 3, is it? Is
Maybe
it? No,
it's 3
switch for
clues.
me, please.
3 clues
That's
in the
not
news.
fair. I hate that.
Usually gets-
Okay, go ahead.
usually gets-
These are my least favorite kind, David.
I know.
He goes off the A, B,
Go
C,
ahead.
D for a while.
Well, here's the deal. Just to explain to David Spero, in case this question will go to him, these are 3 words that I'm going to read to Leslie. The words are not connected to each other, but each of the words connects to the one word that Leslie's going to try and come up with, and that word has something to do with something that David was like, no.
Give him the example. Don't tell him. This is a very
David, do you have a
confusing way to
matinee
tell.
today, Stewart? Because you're like, let's get this going. You're like, you're
No,
seeing.
I'm always
It
like
really is like that show on Friends.
that. I'm always like that.
Give him the example, David. It's much too confusing.
Well, you might get this.
There's
So
no
I'll give
way
you
we're
that
getting 6 questions in during this entire day.
I was thinking it didn't used to be 9.
It used to be 9 with a tiebreaker. I cut it down to 6.
Right.
It still goes 45
Right.
minutes.
Yep.
So here's.
Dave, what are you seeing today, David?
Are you
No,
seeing?
I'm not.
Oh,
Can we
okay.
just go to the tiebreaker?
Go, Leslie, 3 clues in the news. So, but to explain to David
No,
Spero.
let him watch Leslie do it then.
Yeah.
Leslie will get it.
So
Oh
it
no,
would be-
Leslie is not good at these. Give him at least the example.
all
Then
right,
I'll go ahead.
give the example. So if we were to say, I wrote these down somewhere.
Baked.
Couch,
Baked.
sweet.
Yes.
Baked, couch, and sweet.
Yeah, that's good. Baked, couch, and sweet. Those 3 words are not connected to each other, but how would those words connect to another word? David Spero, this is just a fake sample question.
Show him.
How would you,
So the words were what? Baked? What?
baked, couch, sweet? What word would go well with all of those? Blank word blank.
Um,
Show him.
I had baked Alaska in my hotel suite. What was the other word?
No, you don't make a sentence out of them. You you just what word is
Pick
associated with
one
all three?
word that they can all be connected to.
Okay, to baked.
Just look at the camera, David, guess David.
Oh, Mr. Potato Head. Potato.
Baked potato, sweet
Potato.
potato.
Sweet
Couch potato
potato.
couch.
Got it.
The
Got
couch
it.
potato.
That's how
Yeah,
this works.
hot
The
potato.
last thing, David, that you must know is that it could also come before the word. In other words, doesn't have to be at the end. It can also come before.
So it could be latke, it could be potato latke, it could be potato.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, here, I'll give you a great example. We used to play this game on the Joe Walsh bus rides,
Oh,
where we
no.
would have to come up with different names for people using, it was called One Away. So if you take Olivia Newton-John, her name would become Lawrence Figwain.
Oh, I get it.
Lawrence Olivier,
Fig
Fig
for Fig
Newton,
Newton.
John
And-
Wayne.
John Wayne.
Ah,
Oh, that's cute.
that's
Yeah.
cute.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
I
it
may
says
add
the
this-
new-
David, an idea.
Lawrence
Oh,
Figway.
dear.
Except Olivia is
Okay,
not the
so
same as
gonna add
Olivia.
to this now. Oh, dear.
That's
Okay.
Well-
Olivia is not the same as Olivier.
It's true.
Same
True.
kind of a thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
give
yeah.
me the three clues.
Could be de
will you, for
Havilland.
God's sake?
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
really. Let's get
Yeah.
on with the
Not
game.
good at
What's on
this.
with the
I don't
game?
like them.
Yes, oh, with our
That's
game here,
killing
yes,
me.
here we
All
go.
right, go.
Leslie Hoban, like 3 clues in the news. These are your
Yes.
3, watch, you'll get this in 2 seconds.
Of course, no less.
The words are, or the clues are, castle, quick, trap.
Okay, now I have to just sort of,
Uh-oh, David Sheward has it already in his head. He's
he's
not.
good at these. What's the middle word again? I can't read my handwriting.
Okay, the three words are, the 3 clues in the news are castle, quick,
Oh, that's a Q. Okay, I couldn't read
Quick.
my handwriting.
trap.
No, I still have it. I need a little bit of time.
Yeah,
Sorry,
give
I'm not,
a few seconds.
I don't have his brain. I don't know how he can turn this into something, but he does it like that.
Not
You
always.
know,
Sometimes I can get
Superman
it,
is
but
on TV
Once I
right
don't
now.
get it,
Be
it's just
watching
too
that.
much.
Oh, sorry.
I went down to the jail.
Who's singing, David?
Yeah,
David Sheward.
no, I don't know if that was a help, but no.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, no, okay.
Sometimes David just breaks into song.
I do that too, yeah.
If I do this out loud, the only thing I can think of is castle keep or castle moat, and that doesn't work. And then they don't go with trap or quick. So, oh, wait a minute. I got it. Sand, S-A-N-D, sand.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, and that was one of those where boom, it came because I was talking. Yes.
Well, Leslie, son of a beach. That is the
Son of a
correct
beach.
answer. Well done. 2 points to Leslie Hoban. Blake. The answer, of course, is sand castle, quicksand, sand trap from Lake Golf.
Very impressive. I was stuck at White Castle
Oh,
Well, that's
white
what
sand?
happens. You get
and
stuck in one
White
and
Sand
we
and White,
overthink it.
yeah.
So
I
why,
really wasn't thinking
Leslie?
at all when it came in, honestly. Okay,
Yeah, so why is sand in the news?
yeah, well,
Anybody?
why is sand in the news?
Oh, well, the sad news that they found the body of
Oh,
actor
right.
Julian Sands. who-
Oh, yes, okay, well, yeah.
Yeah, he was
yes.
65 years old.
What happened?
He'd been hiking
Yeah,
half a year ago.
Yeah.
Got lost on a hike, and they just finally found him. Not to mention, and just totally coincidentally, July 1st, 1804 is the birthday of George Sand, the writer.
Oh,
So
really?
Nothing to do with anything, but just
Well, it's a lot to do. I'm very happy to remember her.
yeah.
George
And-
Sand?
But what does July 1st have to do with that last question?
Well, no, this is the fact that this week it's a more current thing because Julian Sands this week his body was found.
Ah, I see. Got it.
Celebrated
It's
for
doing the news of the week is
Yeah.
what it is.
All
Who
right.
I
played-
was in Alaska. They didn't have any news up there.
Who played George Sand on public television?
I don't remember. Merle Oberon played it in a movie. She was magnificent, but I don't remember who played it on public TV. Who
Yeah.
played it,
Rosemary
David?
Rosemary Harris. Rosemary Harris.
Oh, wow. Oh,
I did not know
I
that.
just saw her as a guest star in some movie, some really weird little off-brand movie, a little indie somewhere. I don't remember why, but it said with the appearance of Rosemary Harris, and I thought, yes, brought back from the dead, thank you. So everybody will be able to be in that.
Pretty much, yeah, with AI and all that. So,
That's what they call Gary, Indiana, you know, a little indie.
Oh.
anyway,
Sorry.
yeah, David
Like
Spero.
I said, you woke me up.
Yeah.
It's your
So,
turn now.
It is, David just delaying. He's just, because he knows the next question goes directly to David.
Me.
Spero.
All right, here I am.
Yes, yours.
Yeah, oh, I'm so sorry to do this to you,
David,
but
keep your eye on this sparrow.
oh, you heard that. Keep your eye on that. You've heard, how many times have you heard that, David?
Today?
No, I'm talking to David Sheward.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, I'm ready for this. I'm ready.
well, here's the thing. This is also a special kind of question, David Spero,
Oh,
that we,
no.
oh no, why do I bother? It's called Change One Letter.
These are the ones I love. This will be easy for you, David.
Oh, okay. They do this on Jeopardy. I've played Change One Letter on Jeopardy.
Oh, excellent.
See,
So, great.
I
Here's the
told you that.
This is about someone who was born July 1st, 1869 in Ohio. So I'm going to read
George Sand.
close. I'm going to read a little poem, short little poem, and it's going to have ask for two different names. Each name is only one letter different from the other, and each is worth 1 point. So if you come up with one, then you got to think, how do I change one letter and make the other? Do you need an example, or are you kind of cool?
No, I think I got it. I think I got it.
Change one letter for this person born today, back in 1869 in Ohio. This Elements of Style author taught at Cornell till he was finished. Change one letter for when something big was diminished.
Okay. Wow. You know, when you said trivia, I thought it was going to be like, you know, who's saying honky tonk woman?
Homo Karbach. No.
Yeah. I didn't realize I was going to have to think at 9:30 in the morning on Saturday
It's actually 10:30 now. But
when I'm still.
how east are you?
It is Saturday, right?
Yes.
So,
Shabbos whole day.
so read me the question one more time.
Absolutely, of course. Here's the poem. This
Okay.
Elements of Style author taught at Cornell till he was finished. Change one letter for when something big was diminished.
Okay. Well, it would have to be strunk and shrunk.
Is that going to be your final answer?
Oh, I need your little bling.
Yeah, you need to. I need to have my little. Sorry. But is that your final answer?
Yes, it is, because I believe that William Strunk is the guy who wrote that.
Oh, you are so stylish, David Spero. You have 2 points on the board. We have a tie, three-way tie game here.
All right,
James Galvin.
tiebreaker.
William Strunk, who wrote the original book. E.B. White didn't come into it until much later, and they asked him to revise it. But yes. Did you know that William Strunk lived till 1946, but he went mad 2 years before his death? He was like institutionalized.
Really?
Did
Yeah.
he do it stylishly or did he do it?
Well, he put his commas in the wrong place, and it just drove him completely.
I went straight to E.B. White and then I couldn't get the second
That's
word.
not-
I didn't realize that you went back to Strunk. I used to think it was Strunk and Wagnalls.
Doesn't that?
Yeah. Have you ever?
You know what? Wasn't that like one of the 500 most influential books or something like that?
Yes, and much less than 500. I still have my college copy. I refer to it from time to
We had
time.
it in high school, absolutely. It
Sounds
was-
like a Netflix.
Yeah, I
movie.
knew I should have finished high school.
But
What were you saying, David?
I
What
said,
were you
I
saying?
knew
I
I
just
should
said
have
the,
finished high school. I forgot to.
Oh, and I said that the fact that he went mad sounds like it would be a Netflix movie.
well, would be, there ought to be a strong, how was this book created? Make a good movie at this point.
Yeah,
Sure,
I
why
love
not?
so would this show.
So thank you. Thank you. Well, you have the connection, so start working on it. Anyway, we have you were at Columbia Pictures for 10 years. You can actually
You
Yeah,
have
that's true.
connections? The man has connections, oh.
we have a
Never
three-way tie with David Spero, David Sheward, and Leslie Hoban Blake on our Today Yesterday quiz live on this July 1st, 2023. This is so exciting as we go into round two, our second
Okay,
round.
I have a question.
Of course.
What is the 9 and 1?
Oh, bend your head down, Dave.
I'm a moron. This is not news to either of you.
Oh,
This
are you the zero in the middle of it?
I was
That's
rushing
okay.
through, and I had a brain fart, and I put up a 9 instead of another 0, because this is the 901st episode of Dave's Gone By. So
Oh,
normally,
so you're the O.
Oh,
I
I
He's
see.
the
I
O,
got,
he's the
I
O,
get that.
yeah, I like that, that's cute.
my head is the 0, so it's 9.
I know, no, that's cool. I get that. All right.
Next
Now,
time you can put a Post-it right here, and that'll work too.
I could actually do that. So now we go back to David Sheward for round 3. He gets the first question of round 3. David, are you ready?
Round 2.
I'm sorry, round 2. Excuse
I
me.
think that's the first round I've ever played where I don't remember anybody not making the
Ah.
answer.
Is that great? I love that.
Yeah, so we did, the rest of
Oh.
us just sort of sit here like, oh, this,
Well,
All right,
this is
let's
a
go.
This is a multiple choice question, a more classic question.
Okay.
The year was 1923.
Mhm.
Born today in Illinois is Scotty Bowers, author, bartender, handyman, and producer. His memoir, Full Service, detailed his many years hobnobbing at Hollywood parties and arranging sexual liaisons, particularly for same-sex clientele. Which of these was not a dishy bit of likely true gossip from the Bowers book? A. He slept with J. Edgar Hoover, who did indeed wear drag. B. Spencer Tracy lived in George Cukor's house, and there he had sex with Bowers and other men. C. He helped procure threesomes for the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. Or D. He set up Lucille Ball's one lesbian encounter with Vivian Lee.
Now, I've read the book, obviously.
Well,
and-
so did I. There's nothing obviously about it.
No,
I
no, I mean,
like that guy.
given who
I want to see the movie actually of that book.
Yes, that's the movie I want to see.
they sort of did it with this Netflix series, Hollywood. It was kind of inspired by it.
Ah,
Anyway,
Oh, yes.
okay, so I'm trying to remember. I read it a couple years ago, so I'm trying to remember. I think that he did say this about Spencer Tracy. I think the threesomes with the Duke and I remember the Duke and Duchess of Windsor were involved in it somehow, and I think they did that. That one's true. I think so it's A or D, and we already have a D, but this could be a trick.
Me? Moa, David?
I think that he did. It would be he did. I think I don't remember J. Edgar Hoover being in it. But it could be. And I don't remember Lucille Ball is in the book, but she confronts him in a nightclub, Bowers, and tells him to leave her husband Desi alone, because he was setting up women to go with Desi. To have sex. It was setting
Equal
up
opportunity pimp was what he was.
He was setting up women to go with Desi, and Lucy found out about it. So I think D is false. I think, and I don't remember Vivian Lee being in the book at all. I think it's D.
Is that, though, your final answer, David Sheward?
Yes.
Well, David Sheward, you must be having a ball on this episode because you're correct. How the hell did you know or remember all that? It's not just that you're correct, but the story you just told, that's Lucille Ball smacked Bowers and told him, stop pimping women to my husband. That was the actual story. No lesbian thing with Vivian Lee. And all the others are true, though. All the others, yeah.
Well,
By
according to
the way,
Bowers.
I actually got to direct a reading of a play about the Spencer Tracy thing, not about his sexuality, but about the fact that he died in one of Cooper's little cabanas that he used to live in, where she would come and take care of him,
Hepburn.
where Katharine Hepburn would come and take care of him, and he was drinking himself to death, basically. And you all know that story, don't you? About what Mrs. Tracy said when she met Katharine Hepburn.
No, what did she say?
Supposedly, she said, "Oh, I heard of you, but I always thought that was just a rumor. You were just a rumor."
Well,
Anyway,
she kind of was. If she was a beard,
well, but the name of the play was just a rumor, and it went into some. Anyway, I like that.
Well, this is.
I don't know whether I read that in the book or not. I don't remember.
Here's the big shock. David Sheward is leading in the game.
Duh.
But he's had more opportunities.
He said what?
Yes,
He's had more opportunities.
And now
Oh,
we have
well.
the other two, so everyone will be equal. So
Now I get next one. You get the next one after that, and then that's the
No, I
end of
know,
the
I
game.
got it, but to make that claim that he's in the lead.
fair enough.
Oh.
just like
No,
it's
it's really an
just a little
unfair
progress
statement
report.
to
Go
both
fight
of
your own battle, David. I'm gonna let you.
It's a little progress report.
Now, here's the progress report in terms of Leslie, as she has 2 points, but she can tie David Sheward if she gets this question correct.
Pressure.
Okay.
Here's, and the question is from 1967, July 1st, on this date. After 1,348 performances, the original Funny Girl closes at Broadway's Winter Garden Theater. Even before Harvey Fierstein's revisions, Isabel Leonard's book took quite a few liberties with the life of protagonist Fanny Bryce. All of these events in Funny Girl, are false, except which? A, the pregnant bride routine that shocks Flo Ziegfeld never happened. B, Fanny quit a Ziegfeld show mid-run to sail to England with Nick. C, Nick Arnstein was Fanny's first romantic relationship. Or D, Fanny had no idea Nick was a crook until they were long married.
Which one is true?
Which one is true about Fanny Bryce?
Okay, the
All of
pregnant bride was in the Ziegfeld movie, I believe, that she actually was doing with Fanny Bryce playing herself. I believe that. So I've seen, I saw that. I think she would sail with Nick anywhere he wanted to go, anytime he wanted to go. The C was what again?
C was Nick Arnstein was Fanny's first romantic relationship.
Oh,
Which of these is false?
Which of these is true?
All of these are in Funny Girl,
Right.
but they're all false except one true.
So which is true? Which really happened?
Which
Right.
really happened. I'm going to go with, I'll stay with the A, the pregnant bride. She did do that routine. You're saying she did not do that routine, and I'm saying, read the question again.
Yeah. I realize I wrote this a little confusingly. All of these events in Funny Girl are false, except which?
Which one is true?
Right. So,
And was it that
Fanny
she did
Bryce-
that for, and what
Just
does
read
it
the
say about
question.
Ziegfeld particularly about the
So all of these events in Funny Girl are false about Fanny Bryce, except which? A, the pregnant bride routine that shocks Flo Ziegfeld never happened. B, Fanny quit a Ziegfeld show mid-run to sail to England with Nick. C, Nick Arnstein was Fanny's first romantic relationship. Or D, Fanny had no idea Nick was a crook until they were long married.
A, the pregnant bride bit is true.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, that's my final answer. Oh, no, huh?
Pause on this one. I may have written
Oh.
the question wrong, but the pregnant bride thing never happened. Maybe it was in the movie or something, but it was not. It was in
Oh, it
the.
never happened on stage?
Well, she never did that. She would never shock Flo Ziegfeld like that. They got along really well. She would never surprise him, coming on stage with. And plus, it's a big production number. How would she get away with changing a whole thing like that? So it's.
All she had to do was stick a pillow under her dress.
She didn't do it. It didn't happen.
David Sheward, do you agree that it didn't happen?
Yes, I agree.
Okay, well, I'm wrong then.
I mean, it
Okay.
happened in the movie too, in Funny Girl.
I know. That's why I thought it was.
But
When they created that.
Movies don't lie. Movies don't lie. It had to be real. Go
Right,
ahead.
it's like the internet. If
The
it's
great-
on
the
the
great
internet, it's
Ziegfeld.
gotta be true.
That's
But
right.
there was
That's right.
there was no number.
Okay. I
No
did
number
not get
where
that
she
one. Go
did
ahead.
that. Yeah.
There was no number that
Road
there was
the
no
second
number
one.
like that in the Great Ziegfeld.
Oh, okay.
Well, it was in some movie which involved Fanny Brice and Ziegfeld.
You're
I
thinking of
saw
Funny
it.
Girl. with Barbra-
Funny
you're
Girl
thinking of Funny Girl with Barbara Streisand.
Oh. No, but I'm thinking of it in black
Right.
and white with Fanny Brice actually doing it. That's why.
Well, according to my source, may be wrong, but where I got this from,
She was
a fake thing. It didn't
yeah,
happen.
Fanny Brice was in The Great Ziegfeld with William Powell as Ziegfeld, in which she played herself.
Oh.
But there was no bridal number in that.
I'm so confused. All right, go ahead. Move.
Well, I'm gonna roll.
Now
Joyce.
we're going to roll to see who gets to steal.
Okay,
We have a 1. Joyce is rolling the die to see who gets to steal. Well, that's Leslie again.
okay.
We
I
got.
get another chance at it? Is that the idea?
No.
I'll take a bit. That's
I want to do it again.
Okay.
You're rolling, okay, I'm rolling again.
A 5. Is anybody a 5?
No, it's 3 or 4.
Joyce is kind of a bad back, so I'm trying not to have her bend to 2. Wait, do we have a number? No.
No.
This takes a while. 4. Is that you? 4. David
That's-
Spero.
David Spero.
You
Bingo.
get to steal. You got the answer. You get to steal.
Give me the options and one more time.
The
We
remaining
already know
options.
there's one that,
Which of these is not true about the real Fanny Brice, even though
real Fanny Brice.
Okay, so you've got B. Fanny quit a Ziegfeld show mid-run to sail to England with Nick. C. Nick Arnstein was Fanny's first romantic relationship. Or D. Fanny had no idea Nick was a crook until they were long married.
So which of these really happened in real life?
Yeah, which of these
I think she found out later in life that he was a crook.
You think that is true?
I think that's true.
I'm afraid you walk a crooked path on this. I think I also screwed up the writing on this question too. But that is not true. She actually, Fanny Brice, visited him in Sing Sing long before they were married. He was convicted of like wire.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, she knew very well. So Les, that question went to, or is it David now?
It goes to David Sheward.
Now it goes to
This
me.
is the only person left.
Okay,
So
so
which is true.
which of these two is true? That she quit the show out of town to follow Nick, or he was her first romance. So which of those two is true?
Yeah, I screwed up this joke. I'm gonna have to not this joke. This question. I really messed up this question very, very badly. So David, go ahead and
All right. So which is true? Correct.
Yes.
I'm gonna wait, hold on. The problem, and I apologize for this. I was doing these late yesterday. All of these are false. So that's where I really, really screwed up.
Oh,
Because there
But
was
we were both correct.
who did the pregnant bride routine?
So none of them are true. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's just the way I
That's
read
what
this.
you
I'm
So
forgiving.
you're a liar.
Basically,
is that another
no.
question for me, David, or do I have to go with the?
the question was
What's the?
Which of these two is true?
Oh,
Is
boy.
one of them true?
I was just going to go through these because there's no points on that. Pregnant bride routine that shocks Flo Ziegfeld never happened. That's true. Okay.
Okay, but you worded it.
Ziegfeld show mid-run. Sorry,
But you worded it. If
I'm
you're
wording it
saying that,
badly. I missed
If
that.
you worded it and said,
Yeah, yeah.
and just said
All
Fannie.
of these are
We want
false,
a
but
new
one,
host.
yes, that's
Yeah,
what
Yeah,
you
yeah,
said.
if you would just say,
New host.
all of these are false, but if you would just said Fanny shocks Flo by pretending to be pregnant, period, then that would have been accurate.
That would have been, yeah, so I'm sorry.
Aw.
Because Fanny did not quit a Ziegfeld show mid-run, even though that's in the show.
Tell you what, I'll split the difference
what
with you. I'll
about-
take 1
but
point and we'll
wait a
move
minute.
on.
But what about the first romance?
Fanny Bryce was married before she
Billy
went-
Rose.
Oh,
She's
they're
married
all
to
false.
Billy Rose.
No, Billy Rose came later.
What did you think the
Oh.
answer was?
No, it had to do, it was the pregnant bride routine that there was none. So that should have been the correct answer. But I phrased it so badly
But that doesn't make sense.
And I answered based on all wrong information that I had, so I don't know.
Everybody
I'm
gets,
telling you,
everybody
I'll
gets
split
a
the
point.
difference.
Everybody gets.
David, I will take 1
So
point.
all
for-
of them are fabrications.
Yes.
Okay, next question.
Yeah.
So nobody got anything on that,
Yeah,
right?
it's a
I don't have
holiday
to feel
weekend.
bad.
We have
All right.
things to do. I have to go take a nap.
Yes.
Yeah. Dave's in the doghouse with Pooey.
No, it
He's-
says poop happens.
Poop happens, and I
Yeah.
screwed up. I'm sorry, I screwed up the writing of
Was
that.
that Mr. Potato Head again?
Now,
No,
Mr.
that's not
It's different.
Potato Head.
No, I know that was Mr.
It's his
Shit.
cousin.
Shit happens. Yes, there he is.
Yeah, that
I'm
was
sorry,
Mr.
guys.
Shithead,
Ugh.
Yeah,
not
you know, it
Mr.
happens.
Potato Head.
The poop
And we
emoji.
still have.
People make mistakes.
So maybe it won't be a tiebreaker. Maybe we'll to be fair, instead of a tiebreaker, what we'll do is this next question will go to Leslie, and then
Is that all right with you guys? I mean, I did get
Yes.
it wrong.
yeah, the tiebreaker.
Well, thank you very much. What a gentleman.
make
Thank you so
mistakes.
much. Okay.
Mothers,
The
fathers.
3 out of 3 Davids agree.
All right.
make
So
mistakes.
Leslie,
Yes.
guess what?
Oh no.
Oh,
Who's in the news?
Three
Dave giveth and
clues.
Dave taketh away.
I know. I'm sorry. Okay, Leslie, you got 3 clues in the news for something. You're trying to think of a word that's connected to something happening. Blah, 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 blah.
All right. Let's.
And the clues are fire,
Ooh.
hills, lawn.
Lawn, Lawn, lawn.
Right.
Fire Hills Lawn. Okay.
Rock covers paper. Never mind.
The
Yeah.
Sound of Music.
Fire, lawn.
Mm.
Thank you. Kills, fire, lawn, fire, kill.
Dave,
Fire, fly, kill. Lawn, mow. I don't have my earrings on. Oh, lawn, fire, kill,
do you have any
Yeah.
questions you can think of, or in case we need
No.
to?
kill, fire, smoke, lawn.
Good questions.
Saying it out loud doesn't help me here either. I mean, it helped me on the other one, but it's not helping me here. Lawn mower does not fit. Kills,
You're right.
Yeah, just in case. Yeah.
drugs kill. No, I don't know. Firefly.
The answers are below. Good.
Forest. Forest. Oh, forest.
Leslie,
Well, forest fits 2 of them. Forest, fire, and oh no, a forest lawn and fire. Forest fire, forest lawn, but there's nothing with kills with fire.
Isn't
With
it
forest,
Hills?
rather.
Wait.
Forest.
Leslie, I'm going to read the words again.
yeah, read them again.
I'm going to read the words again. The clues are fire, hills, lawn.
Hills, I thought it was, okay, thank you. Then forest is the right word. F-O-R-R, no, it's single. F-O-R-E-S-T, forest.
Is that your final
Yes.
answer?
Yes, I'm very glad that you helped me out there. Thank you.
Well, no, that's only fair. Yeah, it was hills, H-I-L.
Right word.
Right.
And anyway, yes, you can see the forest for the trees because that is the correct answer. Well done. David, you guys have that?
Very impressive.
I
Thank you
thought it
very
was-
much,
I thought it
guys.
was-
I really
I thought it was
appreciate
forest, yes.
Yeah, and because why? What was the reason?
The more forest fires in Canada.
In Canada, yeah.
And also, another unfortunate thing is that
Frederick Forrest died.
the actor Frederick Forrest passed away.
Oh, did he? I didn't, but everybody was dying this week. I missed him in the throes of everybody.
The actor from Tucker and Apocalypse Now and The Conversation and all that Forrest, Frederick Forrest.
Right.
So,
And he also played Dashiell Hammett, did he not?
Oh, wow.
Played
think
Dashiell
so,
Hammett.
yes.
I loved him in that.
He's
Yeah,
very
it
good.
was wonderful.
well, we have already now a tie game so far between Leslie and David, but David Spero,
David.
well, David Sheward
Oh.
and Leslie Hoban Blake are tied. But David Spero has one more question, if I can mess it up, to get 2 points and have a three-way tie again.
Woo,
This is
Yeah,
wonderful.
momentous.
I'm betting against me, but go ahead.
Well, and this one is a simple, classic kind of trivia question, just fill in the blank, because this was going to be our tiebreaker. So all you gotta do, well, not all you gotta do, is come up with a name that we're looking for. The year was 1925.
Okay.
Born today, July 1st, in San Jose, is this veteran actor and MGM contract player who remains best known for two Hitchcock films, Rope and Strangers on a Train. He also did much TV and theater, including an Obie-winning turn in Lanford Wilson's Tally and Son. Excuse me. Name this actor whose 2007 memoir, Include Me Out, detailed his career ups and downs and many love affairs with everyone from Ava Gardner to Shelley Winters to Leonard Bernstein. Who is
You left out a major one there.
Rope. What was it on Rope and what?
I'll read it again. Born in 1925 on this date in San Jose, is veteran actor and MGM contract player who remains best known for two Alfred Hitchcock films, Rope and Strangers on a Train. He also did a lot of TV and theater. He won an Obie for Lanford Wilson's Tally and Son off Broadway. Name this actor whose 2007 memoir, Include Me Out, detailed his career, his ups and downs, and his love affairs with everyone from Ava Gardner to Shelley Winters to Leonard Bernstein. Who is it?
Man. I have the first name and I can't get it's
I'm not there. What happened to me?
I hear you talking, Les, but I don't know what happened to your.
Oh.
Farley Granger.
Is that your final answer, though?
Yeah.
Farley Granger, is that your final answer?
Yes.
Oh my God, I am fairly thrilled by the fact that we have a three-way tie again on Dave's Gone by Farley
Was
Granger.
that right? That was
Farley
right?
Granger, yes, it was Farley
I was
Granger.
I'm going through the movie, both of those movies and trying to figure out
You
Farley
did
Granger.
good, Dave. You did good, David.
Home on the
Thank you.
range. Well done. Oh my God. So here's the deal. We have a three-way tie. It also didn't help that I screwed up one of those questions. But Joyce, my wife, was kind enough to get up a trivia quiz, nothing to do with anything, but a trivia question. So here's the deal. We have a tiebreaker question for you. David Spero, do you have something to write with and something to write on?
Hold on, I can get that very quickly.
While he's doing that, I'll remind you all that you're watching Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz. We're here playing our Today, Yesterday trivia quiz live on this Saturday morning, July 1st, 2023. We're calling this episode, it's the 901st episode of Dave's Gone By, calling it Spare Me, because David Spero is with us. He's also playing.
Hold on.
No
I
rush.
went away again.
And Leslie Hoban Blake is trying to get back on our screen.
I have paper and pen. Okay.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Wait, how do I do? Oh, here I am. I don't know what's making that happen. Okay.
There you go. Oh, ooh.
Huh?
Nope.
Yeah. There we go. Welcome back. Don't go away.
Hello.
Leslie's Wi-Fi is, I don't know what.
No, this is I'm on my computer and I pushed it. I must have touched the button without realizing it.
That's
If I
what-
touch anything on here, I disappear. So that's,
So
I'm
I
not
have a
touching
question
anything.
for you. And we'll see if you get it. Everybody, but here's the deal, David Spero. Instead of saying out the answer to each and every one of you, all three of you will write down the answer, like Final Jeopardy, and then I'll give a 3, 2, 1 countdown, and 3,
Like
2, 1, hold it to the camera so we see them all at the same time.
Got it.
Okay.
So here's
Do
the
I have to write backwards so that you can see it in the camera?
No,
correct?
it reads it perfectly.
It reads
No,
it.
it reads it. It reads it. It's okay.
Yes,
And
check.
or you can write it, but if you write it in Hebrew, you can
Yes.
do it the opposite way.
I
It's a simple question.
don't know.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Here we go. So, I mean, nothing to do with anything. What is the only mammal born with horns?
Ooh.
I would not know this.
Mammal born with horns?
The only mammal born with
Okay.
horns.
It's poor mommy, whichever one.
Yeah, no kidding. Boy, that's gotta hurt coming out. Um,
Okay.
So take your moment, write whatever answer
Give
down
the-
that
give the
you.
Jeopardy music, honey.
Da, 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 da. So once everybody's got this written down,
oh wait, hold on. I'm
Oh, wait,
writing
you said
down.
mammal, right? You
Writing
said
down.
mammal.
mammal, mammal, mammal,
You said
mammal.
mammal.
Pigeons.
Okay, I have to
fly,
change my answer. I went wrong there. Okay.
I'm not, what if we misspelled it?
Spelling does not count.
Because I'm not sure which of these has both 2 letters, or maybe 2 of them have 2 letters. But anyhow, I have an answer.
Well, don't show it yet. Don't show
I'm showing you the back of the
Oh, right. Okay.
sticker pad.
Okay, I changed it.
So
I'm
the
ready.
question again, and I'll give a 3, 2, 1 countdown when you all hold up your things. What is the only mammal born with horns? 3, 2, 1, go. The something ram. What is that? The
The ram?
Oops.
I wrote
okay.
the
Okay.
Satan ram.
The
Whoops.
Satan ram. I don't know.
The
Okay.
Satan
I
ram.
made it up.
Walrus. And then I can't read yours. Yours is blurry like the background. So David,
Oh, I wrote giraffe.
Ooh, clever.
we have a brand new champion
Whoa.
of the Today Yesterday quiz, and his name is David Spero.
Wow,
And you know how I know
Leslie.
this? You know how
like
I
a
know
Trojan
this?
horse.
How do you know
okay?
this? Yeah.
I
Leslie,
know this because there was this giraffe that was being born in a zoo, and they had this camera on the mother for the whole time. And it was finally born, and they made a big deal about the fact that, that this is and the horns are only like, that big. But anyhow, they made a big deal about the fact that the giraffe was born with horns. I didn't know it was the only one, but I knew it was one and that it was a mammal.
Now,
Are you
now
gonna
look
tell
at-
me, David, that the walrus has tusks and not horns? Yes, I
Yes.
know. Yes, after I wrote it and put it up, I realized that. Thank you.
tusk is not a horn.
Although it's easier for them to give birth in like Alabama where the Tuscaloosa. But
Yeah.
so sorry about that.
Oh, you're a regular Dan Murray.
But here's the thing. David Spero was, I got this quiz. It's crazy. It doesn't matter. Meanwhile, what does he do? It's like the Jackie Gleason in The Hustler, or
There you
just sort of sneaks.
That's what I said. He really just snuck around us. David, you have to get that crown, and then you have to get in touch with David
Oh,
Spero for his
if I ever
address.
get it in the mail, I think someone stole it in the mail.
Oh,
Oh,
Listen, I can make another one. It's show.
Yeah, Joyce
show
makes them here. She made this for me last week when we had our 900.
oh yes. Well, that was a
show.
lovely one because that was gold. That was really
Yeah,
great.
this is a beautiful.
That was a great
Oh,
one. You're not giving
scary.
that one up. Yeah,
The
right.
Google eyes is scary.
The budget for this show is like
cool. It's like, what's that clown? He's like 6'10", and he's got this amazing voice. Puddles the clown.
It?
Puddles the clown. He wears a crown just like that.
Ronald McDonald.
No, Puddles the clown.
Puddles.
Is that from it? Is that the?
Google it. This guy is amazing. He
Oh.
has this operatic voice,
Yeah.
and he comes out dressed as this clown, and he's like literally like 6'10" or something like that.
Is he terrifying? Yeah.
And this voice comes out, and he like
Oh.
sings like oldies.
Oh, it's
And he's
Puddles Pity
amazing.
Party. I've heard of this guy.
Yeah, Puddles Pity Party.
Never,
See,
Never
heard of it.
there it is.
There he is. Wow. Yeah, I think he did some off-Broadway stuff or
His
something like that.
family's much smaller though.
He
It's-
started as a bartender. He used to. It started on Halloween as a bartender. He dressed up at as the clown, and used to sing behind the bar all the time. And then it just became a bit. And he's on tour right now.
Wow. Are you managing him at the moment?
I wish I was. I love the guy. I've seen him a half a dozen times. He's so funny.
Say, David Spero, who are you managing these days? Like, what clients of yours should we see in concert and stuff like that?
Well, I'm kind of really slowing down a bit. The main projects I'm working on right now is Paul Rogers from Bad Company has a brand new album that will be coming out in September. In fact, the first single was just released this week. So we'll have a new Paul Rogers record, first one in like 24 years or something like that. And I'm actually working on a musical with Yusuf, with Cat Stevens.
Oh,
That hopefully will see the light of day at some point 2024.
Whoa, cool. When you say you're working on, are you co-writing it? I mean, what have you been working on?
Well, I'm kind of working with the music, and I'm producing it with him, and involved in the whole thing. I've got the money guy and all that together, and we'll be ready to roll.
Whoa. Well, absolutely. Keep us posted. Please also come back to the show because we have so many more stories. And didn't even get to ask about your early years in freeform radio, not to mention so many of your other clients and stories. But everybody can get David Spero's book, which it's his memoir, which I wrote down here, A Life in the Wings, which was co-written
Yeah.
with Tim A. Zonneville. You can get that from Mumford Publishing. Came out last year. Yeah.
Well, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Barnes and Noble. You can get it at, on Target.com.
So everybody can get that. A Life in the Wings.
It's
from
out there. Yeah.
David Spero. Now, also, we want to say to Leslie Hoban Blake. Leslie, have you done some new?
Yeah, we got a new show in the can. Hopefully it will be on Thursday. I mean, it should be on Thursday, and it will be Goodnight Oscar, Sweeney Todd, and White Girl in Danger. We're just catching up.
Of
So
course.
we haven't done any of the new plays yet, unfortunately, but this is my fault because I was ill and I wasn't able to see them. So it's just catch up time. But and then Mustard follows. But I wanted to say something. I heard your lovely introduction to me before I was actually visible. And I just got approached to direct a play. So I don't know if I'm going to do it. I haven't read the script yet. I know what it's about, but I haven't read the script yet. But I'm very excited. And I'm going up to see, you all know Lauren Yarger, right?
I've heard
Lauren
that.
Yarger.
yes.
Lauren's working very much with women in theater in Connecticut. And she has a reading series. And I'm going up to see a reading of a play about Ava Gardner.
Oh,
Which I'm very excited
I had
about.
an affair
And
with Charlie Granger.
yeah, I don't know. And also, now who was his longtime lover that he lived with in the hills? The guy who wrote his own book, the guy who was involved in Gypsy and all of those shows.
Arthur Lawrence.
Arthur Lawrence, yes, he was the love of Arthur Lawrence's life, right?
I think they were together in Hollywood, but they separated, and Lawrence took up with somebody else who was not in show business, a civilian.
A clever thing to do, but
and was with him for the longest. He had an affair in Hollywood with Granger for a couple.
But I also remember reading that they lived together for
in Hollywood for a
period of
year.
time. Yeah, that's why somebody said in the hills. That's what I meant.
Well, the play is about Gardner, right? The play is about.
Yeah, the play is about Ava Gardner. I know nothing about the period, but I do know the author of that play. I had worked with her once before, so I'm really excited. And I'm going up to visit my kids. It's at Iron Playhouse, which is like five minutes from where my kids live. So I will be able to see the reading with my kids, and then have a wonderful couple of days. So
is George C. Scott a character?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I will come back and let you know because I know.
Why
have
are
a-
you asking about George C. Scott, David?
Oh, well, I
Why,
haven't-
why
I
ever
wrote a
would you
book.
do that?
I wrote a book, a biography of George C. Scott, and he did have a rather tumultuous affair with Ava Gardner.
Everybody had a tumultuous affair with Ava Gardner.
Rabbi
Never
Solomon had a
any
tumultuous affair with
short
him.
period of time.
And now,
You know, the thing about Ava Gardner was the fact that she lived in Franco, Spain for so long. I didn't know that. I saw that in a
Yeah, she lived in
biography.
Spain.
What?
Yes, she lived in Spain.
She lived in Spain under Franco.
Yeah, after retiring
Yes.
from pictures.
wow.
I mean, she fell in love with it with her first bullfighter, and when they made that film, and she just couldn't leave. But I mean, I can't imagine someone whose proclivities were to the left, to the best of my knowledge, being able to live under a dictator like Franco.
Mm.
Except that they treated her very well.
Yes.
They, you know, so I can see that because you know,
Now,
Margarita
also,
Cancino, you know.
we want to say buenos dias to David Sheward
Hello.
in the Spanish way, because David, let's remind you, you write for theaterlife.com, culturaldaily.com, and the website that I administer now, totaltheater.com.
Yes.
So what shows have you reviewed this past week? Remind me?
Well, we just had a review of The Doctor with Juliet Stevenson at Park Avenue Armory, which is playing through August, and The Comeuppance, Brendan Jacobs Jenkins play at Signature Theater, both of which are very, very good, and I would recommend both of them. The Comeuppance is only playing through July 9th, but it's an excellent show.
And what have you written for the David Desk, which is your blog?
I have updates of what's going on, what's coming up in production wise, and there is a musical in development based on Imitation of Life, actually written by Lynn Nottage of all people, the only woman to win 2 Pulitzer Prizes in drama in that category.
All right.
She's
Sounds
and,
pretty
also,
lifelike.
and I think she's also the only African American person to win 2 Pulitzer Prizes in that category.
Wow.
Um,
So cool. Read all of David's stuff at culturaldaily.com, totaltheater.com, theaterlife.com, and the David Desk. Oh, sorry, please, David.
And
Yeah.
coming up, I'm working on reviews of Hamlet in Central Park and The Great Gatsby at the Immersive Show at the Park Central Hotel.
I
And
cannot see either of those. I can't make my way into the park and out of the park, as well as, you know, getting up the stairs and all of that. And I can't do an immersive thing because you have to be able to get up and move.
yes, you have to
all
get
over
up and
the
walk
place.
around.
And it's too much for me, so I can't do it.
And also Alex Edelman's Just for Us, which is he's a
Oh, I
very
love that. I love that a lot.
I didn't see it off Broadway, but now it's on Broadway, and it's very good. It's a very I think I would recommend it. He's a Jewish comedian.
Yes, you had me with Jewish. Yes.
Who responds to anti-Semitic tweets on his Twitter feed and surreptitiously attends a white supremacist meeting in Queens, and what happens, which is really it's an
And
interesting.
hilarity ensues, yes.
It's very funny. Very funny.
Excuse me.
And no one was
God
lynched
bless you.
during that performance, which is kind of cool. So, ladies and gentlemen,
Nobody what during that performance?
nobody
I
got
missed
lynched
it.
during the
No
whole.
one was lynched. Right.
Lynched.
But anyway, we have had so much fun playing today, yesterday trivia with our wonderful friends of the Daverhood.
And what an overthrow.
Yeah, and our brand new
Overthrow,
champion,
wow.
Yeah.
David
Are you
Spero.
coming back, David Spero, to
hope
play
so.
ever?
Well, if that's what the rule is, I mean, if I have to
You have to
defend the
defend.
championship,
Yeah, the winner has to come back.
Once he gets the crown, once he gets the crown.
Yeah,
huh?
once the crown eventually comes to him in the mail in about 4 or 5 weeks or months, it could.
Right.
Yeah.
So, guys, it's been absolutely so wonderful. I apologize for fucking up the game, but stuff happens. Poop happens, as we say. But blow kisses, say farewell as I let each of you leave.
By the way, I was so nervous about the tribute thing.
Were you really?
I really was. I was going to, I could really look like a total moron.
And
I
go
know
for your
I do
eye.
that all the time, but I had no idea what I was up for, which is why I made up my own trivia question
Yeah,
to
which was
start
great
the
too.
show with. So
Oh, I'll be in Europe for the next few weeks.
Lucky you.
Where to? What?
Where
What?
you
What?
going?
I'm going to Greece and Turkey on a cruise.
Oh, nice.
husband, I
I've
assume.
done that cruise.
And going to
Oh,
some of the
fantastic.
islands, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Well,
When you
just
go
stay
to
safe on the
Corfu,
cruise, that's all.
Are
David,
you going to, are
I
you going
worry
to
about
Corfu?
cruises.
are you going to
No,
Corfu?
we went to Mykonos and Santorini, and I forget all of them. I don't think Corfu is one of them, but we are going to Mykonos and Santorini.
Yeah, where in Turkey, Dave?
Izmir and I know in Greece we're going to Delphi. I know that, to consult the oracle, and I forget the other Turkish places, and we wind up in Istanbul.
Well, if you do make it to Corfu,
Yeah.
it's one of the very first temples that was ever built is in Corfu, and it's still a very active temple.
When you say temple,
had-
I mean,
They had Jews in Corfu?
Amazing, a huge Jewish population in Corfu.
Oh, really?
Huge, yeah.
actually, David
That
is the
means
only
a
one in the
Jewish
room.
temple, David. David is not Jewish. He means a Jewish temple. Because it
Well,
could
David,
be
you
another
have- you're
kind of
right.
temple.
Right,
Well,
that's
just said-
true.
David, your husband is Jewish, David
Yes.
Sheward? Oh,
Yes.
so yeah, drag him. When was the last time he went to shul confession? I mean, it's
No.
time.
All right.
Guys,
And by the way, when you go to Greece, you don't have to ask for a Greek salad. You can just say you want.
That's for a salad, right?
This is salad.
Yeah,
yeah.
because I went there and I said, "Oh, I'll have the Greek salad," and the lady looked at me and she said, "Well, it was in a different language. I didn't know what she said, but it was translated to me as we just call it salad here."
With that, we a fun, wonderful, and have a wonderful trip, Dave. Really.
Thank you. I'll be
See,
back.
Yeah,
in
no
a second.
kidding, no
Safe
kidding.
and happy, Dave.
Take a lot of
Oh yeah, take
David.
pictures.
Take
Bye, David Sheward. Have a great
Bye-bye.
one. See you in the neighborhood fairly soon.
My suggestion is if he's going to Europe, then perhaps Joyce wouldn't mind making David Spero a crown that he can then forward, because that crown will never get to him. I sent it that night, I sent it in
Well-
the same envelope that you get. I just put fresh postage on it, and it's got obviously lost. I mean, it's been a long time now.
Well, yeah, no, I've had issues with the mail and trying to pay bills that never got to me. Don't even. So, David,
Well,
get me your.
yours took a long, what? I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying, David Spero, if you get me your address, your snail address, we'll make a crown for you that you might get in a couple of months, and then you
So
can.
I should go check the mail today.
No, but look for a large envelope. Or
This-
you can,
Does
George,
it look like it?
George, you can make one like this. We can all write this was inside the other one, and I'm not giving this up, so.
Does it look like I can afford FedEx, David Spero? Does it look like this show can even afford, like, we can't even afford UPS anymore or USPS anymore? We can, you know,
Right.
Like it over.
DHL, David, DHL.
yeah.
We now have a UPS in opposition to, whatever that word is, to a FedEx in my neighborhood. I could actually walk from one to the other. I have a choice of who can steal most of my money so I can mail something.
Yeah.
You know? It's
I mean,
great.
we had to pay $5 to fax something this week because
Oh.
people are still taking fax pages to do things, which astonishes.
And stamp prices are going up again. Go buy a roll of stamps now, save yourself, 12, 15 cents.
It's ridiculous.
But I have forever stamps and they stay the same, you can keep using.
So if you
Well,
want,
I
yeah,
have
I
to
keep
add
buying
anything to
forever
it.
stamps.
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'll buy them forever.
So do you live in New York,
Yeah.
David Spero? Okay, I wasn't sure. I thought you might be on the coast for some reason.
Well, anyway, thank you guys. We got to move on
Other
to the program.
coast.
So
Hey, does
Leslie,
anybody watch this, by the way, or is it just us? Are there other people that are partaking?
well, no, David Spero, you should know, and our viewers should know that once our episodes air live on Facebook,
They're on
they're only saved on our Facebook page, but they go on davesgoneby.com and also our channel on archive.org. So, and we have a YouTube channel. So really,
Well,
people
send me the
watch.
link so we can put it up on my social media stuff and my artist social media stuff. And,
Definitely.
Send it to
I
Joe
love
Walsh.
it.
Get him on the show. We'd love to have
that's what I
him.
mean. Yeah.
Your friend
He would-
Rico, your friend
Can I
Paul.
tell you, he would be the all-time trivia champion.
Joe Walsh? Yeah.
Absolutely. He's one of the most intelligent people I've ever met. He, on any subject, you can talk to him about trains. You can talk to him about oil wells. You can talk to him about, he's just.
Because he figured he would have shot out his brain cells back in the
No, he's a
70s, 80s.
voracious reader. He's always got like 6, 7 books at a time. And none of them are written by Stephen King or any of those guys. You know, they're all like, he's brilliant, man. Really
Right,
brilliant.
You're
Life's
his
been
manager,
good.
sort of. So
Is he touring now? Is that what you're handling a tour of his? Is that the idea?
well, he used to.
You are handling a tour of his now? Is that what happened? I
No,
didn't
no,
catch
no.
the
I
beginning of the show.
don't.
Oh.
I'm not working with Joe at this time. We're still good friends and all, but he's out with the Eagles.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I knew about. Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
but-
he's a pretty smart guy.
And Cat Stevens too. If Cat Stevens ever wants to come on this program, and he doesn't mind talking to a
I have
rabbi.
a bone to pick with Cat Stevens over that fatwa of Salman Rushdie.
Oh, here we go.
He never apologized or took it back. As far as I know, he still thinks the fatwa on Salman Rushdie was a good
No,
thing.
see, you know, you read the news.
If you have information, I'm willing to listen.
Well,
Go
he's a
ahead.
good friend of
Yeah,
Cat
I can
Stevens.
tell
So
you exactly
listen
what happened. In fact, the BBC, it cost them a lot of money. They were the ones who first put the quote out that said, you know, I think he should be dead. But the reality of the quote was afterwards, he said, but as a man of peace, I don't believe what the Quran says. And they never put that whole sentence together.
I will tell my friends who are also upset about it that I will tell them exactly what you said. Because I love Cat Stevens' music. I mean, I really do.
Yeah, I mean, he wrote Peace Train. He doesn't want
I
people.
know, I understand that, but we all thought that sort of, you understand why we would make that assumption, having been given half.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I went to the whole thing.
I'm
with
going to share that at lunch today, actually, so I'm
well,
looking
good. So
forward to
tell
it.
her, because Rabbi Saul was talking to David Spero earlier and asking about the whole Cat Stevens thing in post 9/11, and didn't really get specifically to the fatwa thing, but that was everybody I knew suddenly was like, well, fuck Cat Stevens,
Right,
basically.
absolutely. I mean, listen, I heard that stuff too, and it was one of the first things I brought up to him. And I said, hey, man, we need to figure this out. Jews and Muslims walking around together,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah, no,
walking
that's
on
a great
Broadway
idea.
with them
Jews and
once,
Muslims
I thought,
walking around together.
Yeah,
I
no
would
doubt.
prefer that to what's going on now,
Yeah, it's
Anyway.
the least of his problems.
Yes, well.
Well,
It's
anyway.
lovely meeting you, David. Congratulations on your win.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, our champion, David
Thank
Spero.
you.
Wave goodbye, David Spero. Thank you so much for being in the Daverhood. Come back, send me your address for the crown, and get some of your old friends and clients to be on the show, and I'll be your friend forever. I'll probably be your friend forever anyway, because you're really cool. But either way, would really love that. So.
And you make a perfect zero, you make a perfect zero.
Oh, come on.
No, I think
I
that's
know,
it.
I know.
Oh, and also a shout out and a thank you to our mutual friend, Ari, who kind of recommended that we get you on the show. You're a close friend of Ari, who is the publisher of Long Island Woman magazine. And he was like, oh, my friend Howard, David Spero, you gotta get him on. So
That's very cool. Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you all. It's nice to meet you all. And I can't believe I'm leaving a winner. I can't, I'm
We made your day, or you
day-
made your day.
it really did. It really
worth
did.
getting
I
up
was
for,
so
right?
ready to be-
It
yeah,
was worth getting up for, right?
it was.
Just about,
It was.
almost. Thank you, David. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Oh, it was so
Yeah.
nice this morning. That was really cool.
That was really wonderful. Thank you,
He
Leslie.
seems like a great guy.
He's really cool. And so are you, Leslie. We'll see you very
Aw.
soon in the Daverhood.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, it was our Today Yesterday quiz on this Saturday morning, July 1st, 2023. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. I can't get this hair. There it is. To stay down. Ladies and gentlemen, the 901st episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the Stream, featuring me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce.
Cat Stevens, he talked about the same thing. I'm just reading.
Well, yeah, he had to walk back some of the stuff that was coming out of his mouth back in the day, because it wasn't nice to hear. We were pretty raw following 9/11, so you had to be pretty careful, even if you were taken a little out of context. It was still a bit. Anyway, what else do I want to tell you? I literally was kind of cool. I was able to say that davesgoneby.com is where the archives reside. You can also go to davelefkowitz.org if you want to read my writing, if you want to read some of my plays, my song lyrics, my what else? All my interviews and essays and things like that. davelefkowitz.org. Do check that out, please. And we have a Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2, and now we have an Instagram page. It's david.lefkowitz. Just basically, if you go to the davesgoneby.com homepage, there's links to everything you want to see and everything you need for this show and for me. Anyway, congratulations to David Spero, the winner.
Is he the first guest to win?
I don't think so. I think that's happened one or two
he was a
times.
guest and then she won.
Yeah, but really wonderful. So let's, as promised. Well, you know what? Let's do Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Then we'll finish up with part 2 of talking about my episode with a B that we were discussing earlier in the show. And then also Colorado Limerick of the Dam. So we have a lot more to do, and we're almost, my God, we're almost to the last half hour of the program. So let's get to it. Greeley Crimes and Old Times has to do with stories that are in the Greeley Tribune newspaper. And for a long, long while, they've appeared in the paper once a week. And they're intentionally funny, but they're based on real things. So Cop Log, Greeley Cop Log, is phone calls that come into the local police dispatch in Weld County, northern Colorado. But it's not the serious stuff. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you've seen this, hon, but the front, I don't know the hard copy, but the front of the New York Post today.
Oh, it has a picture of a tree killing people?
Wouldn't that be great? No, it's a story about a 16-year-old boy who's being charged as an adult for shooting a 15-year-old girl, his ex-girlfriend, to death. Where? Greeley, Colorado.
Let me see.
New York Post, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna look.
I'm looking for it in the Greeley Tribune, and it's not even their first story.
New York Post, Greeley teen shoots girlfriend. Colorado teen.
Yeah.
16-year-old boy in Colorado killed his ex-girlfriend earlier. She tried to break up with him.
Uh-oh.
Giovanni Serrano Cordona is being tried as an adult. Prosecutors believe he followed through with the promise. He said if she ended the relationship. Oh my God, he went to a bike path. She lived in a trailer park and he found her. Greeley, a suburb of Denver. Oh, she was a beautiful young girl.
Yeah. Is Greeley really a suburb of Denver?
No,
I don't
it's
think
not. That's incorrect.
Yeah.
And then it's not a suburb. A suburb of Denver would be like around Denver, not like.
Yeah, we were like an hour north of Denver. Yeah. Because Joyce and I used to live in Greeley, Colorado, so it's just so weird to come across like the New York Post front page. And it must be also a slow news day because the Tribune reported on this 4 days ago, and the Post is just picking this up. But,
oh wow, Lily's brother was there, and he pleaded for his life as but the killer took away his iPhone.
Okay. Oh, that's awful.
Hold on. No, because he couldn't call for help.
Yeah.
So the brother ran out and went into a neighbor's home.
Oh, well, at least the brother got away. Yeah. So there's only one corpse out of this whole thing. But, we lived, it was a relatively...
And then the killer's grandmother said, why are the police at that girl's home, at your girlfriend's home? And he said he did what he had to do and he shot somebody.
He did what he had to do.
Yeah.
He did what he had to do. No, but, we lived in Greeley. This crime, one of the points of this segment, Greeley Crimes and Old Times, was that the crimes that would make the Greeley Tribune newspaper, 95% of the time, were so small and so local and so minimal.
He stalked her.
Yeah. That something like this is like the crime of the century in Greeley. What?
She just completed. She worked at the Wing Shack.
We know the Wing Shack.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
She
well, now
did
they have some free
shopping,
meat.
makeup,
Yeah. So, but this is very unusual. Even though Greeley was a city and Greeley has a lot of poor and crazy people, you really didn't get horrible crimes like this.
This is domestic violence. Like he stalked her and
Yeah.
killed her.
Yeah, this is personal. This isn't like a home invasion. This is spurned ex-boyfriend,
Yeah.
losing his nut.
He
So,
stalked her and he beat her, and police came there because he hurt her in a few days before.
oh, really?
Yeah, he like punched her or something.
Oh my God, well, that
Mhm.
was a warning right there.
Yeah.
Mm. Sounds like a wonderful young man who will do terrific things in prison.
Oh God, being 16 in prison,
Mm.
He's gonna.
Well, good. I mean, do we root for him not to get raped? I mean, But the cool thing about Greeley Crimes at All Times is most of the phone calls that come into the
I want to see the Denver Post because they're not going to say it's a suburb of.
most of the phone calls that come into the Greeley Dispatch are not this. Most of them are like, there's a horse wandering around
Or there's some
on
man
the
with a
parking lot.
garbage bag in the
Yeah.
porta potty. Yeah.
So they're kind of light and ridiculous and fun. And the brilliant people at the Greeley Tribune, I gotta give them this, saw this. They go through the cop logs that are public record information. And they go, this is ridiculous, this is funny, this is cute, this is fun. And they choose the most like silly ones that are real. And they put them in a column every single week. And then they call that column Greeley Cop Log. There's also another column that I guess is going the way of the dodo. But our friend of the Tribune, Mike Peters, who was on the show, he goes through the newspapers from 1923 and looks for stories back then that are kind of fun to read now in retrospect. He stopped doing that 3 months ago. I hope he brings it back. I hope somebody brings it back then. But we have one or two more left of those before we run out. We might have to change the name of this segment, which has for many years been called Greeley Crimes in All Times. Might just have to be like Greeley Times.
It could just be Greeley.
Greeley, really? Maybe?
I don't know what we would call it.
We'll work on it. But for now, we're going to Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Da 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 da. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Greeley Crimes and Old Times. So we mix up the brand new criminality in Greeley with some of the things that were in the paper 100 years ago for this segment. So some new criminality thing. Oh, well. A caller.
Oh, wait. You have that one. Do you have that
I
one?
don't think so. They're
Oh,
all in
wait,
there.
I got it. I'm sorry. Hold on. No, wait.
There we go. A caller in the Greeley Mall reported an older man near, you're going to love this, he was near, quote, the bouncy place.
What's the bouncy place?
I'm figuring it's like
A bouncy castle?
I'm guessing there must have been a bouncy place in the Greeley Mall. I haven't been.
Why can't an older man be near the bouncy place?
Well, he had a kitchen knife in his backpack.
How do they know that?
I don't know. Well, I guess they also know that because he pulled out a cleaver and swung it around.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah.
He could burst the bouncy.
Bouncing, and then he won't be bouncing anymore.
It'll
Why
be
would he
the-
do this?
It'll be very painful if we jumped on concrete. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that not good.
Oh, the kids are sad. Wait, here's the man.
A caller on 14th Avenue said that a previously trespassed man returned to the restaurant. I guess a man who was previously trespassing returned to the restaurant. He was
Oh God.
on top of the table.
It's Hooters, David. Hooters.
Well, probably because he had his hands in his pants,
Wait, okay. Let me just explain.
not
something.
pockets.
Let me
Yeah.
explain something to you. I'm okay. I'm average fitness. It would be hard for me to get up on a table in a restaurant. To
Like, oh, you
on
climb
the
up a
table
chair. Yeah.
And then be on the table and stand up. That's hard.
How's it hard?
It was
Yeah.
like climbing on my desk.
I'm saying restaurants have chairs that lead to the table. You get on the chair, you climb up on the chair.
By the time he does that, people could apprehend him.
Well,
That's
they
a
could.
long journey.
Yeah. And you can apprehend him because he's got his hands are in. Well, actually, be
What
top.
restaurant was that?
Oh, I just have, that was 14th Avenue. I don't note the street. They
Okay,
do usually give the cross streets, but
let me look.
14th Ave, that was pretty,
I don't even know where that is. Okay, let's ask.
yeah.
What restaurants are on 14th Avenue in Greeley? It's La Mariposa, Carnicia, Harada, Mexican restaurant.
Okay, could be.
Let's see. Fat Albert's, maybe.
Oh, maybe, oh.
Bulldog Pub and Grill. The Country Inn restaurant. Oh, Country Inn.
Yeah, the
remember
diner, we used to
that?
go there.
Bravo's Philly Cheesesteak, Los Camales, Paragon. They're all over now. I don't know where he is.
Yeah, if I go back into the story, I can get you the cross street. Of
That's
where on
okay.
14th,
We
yeah.
should not know yet.
Yeah, and because we ate at Fat Albert's too. He was like, hey, look at my hands. It was like,
Maybe he wanted the peach pie or something, you know.
oh, yeah, to do what with?
They had delicious pies, remember?
I do. Well, but if you remember the movie American Pie, he was probably hoping for the apple
that's
pie.
naughty, honey. That's
Yeah.
naughty.
Oh, a caller.
Hold on.
I'm assuming it's not the same guy. A caller on 9th Street
Yeah.
reported a man outside with a sword.
Maybe it's the guy from the mall.
Where do these people get cleavers, kitchen knives?
I think Goodwill. Goodwill.
Oh, I'm wondering because we're so worried about guns and gun control. It's like people are just wandering around with cutlery.
Maybe they're doing cosplay.
Oh, that could be.
You know, like some kind of event.
All right. Here's a long one. That's what she said. A woman on Wedgwood Court
Ooh, la la.
said that a stranger she was having drinks and watching TV with.
Wait. I smell Tinder.
Well, yeah.
How do you, or meet up? I mean, how do you have a stranger you're having dinner and drinks with?
It's not quite a stranger anymore.
Yeah.
But
Oh no.
although this is actually genius. This is fantastic.
Oh, no.
So this woman said a stranger she was having drinks and watching TV with
Yeah.
took her keys and blocked her car from leaving.
What? Oh, because he took the keys.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
I got that.
During the call,
Yeah.
a man in the background, while she was on the phone, kept yelling, "I'm her husband!"
Ah, David, I can't laugh.
Oh, because you've got the sword.
Oh, that's not good. Do you think she has some kind of a memory issue?
Well, meanwhile, it's
Yeah.
probably possibly that too.
Oh.
Meanwhile, a man on
So
Wedgwood
he took
Court.
the keys and prevented her from
From
leaving because she
driving,
was probably
yeah.
inebriated. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, well, a man on Wedgwood Court around the same time
Where's my? Oh, wait.
said to the police that his wife was on the phone with another dispatcher.
Oh no.
He said he took his wife's keys from her so she didn't drive
Good.
intoxicated. But I just love that. I'm her husband.
I love it.
Ooh.
Not as soon as we get to the courthouse.
Mm.
Not for long.
All right, now what we've been doing is one old-timey thing because we're parceling them out. There's almost none left.
Yeah.
But we have one
Okay.
old-time thing for this
Did you?
week.
What's on your head? Look at the. Yeah.
I'm
What
gonna
is
rub
that?
my head there.
Did you-
And this is from 1923,
Oh.
100 years ago, in the Greeley Tribune newspaper. T. Coleman,
I like his
they
name.
used to do initials back
I
then.
like his name.
T. Coleman, a brakeman for the Union Pacific Railroad here.
I'm working for the county. What is that song? Oh,
Well,
oh no.
he
Wait,
slipped and fell between the tracks. Well, that thing's gotta go.
let's see.
Anyway, but he slipped and fell between the tracks, this brakeman
Oh,
for the
no.
train.
Isn't it step on a crack, break your mother's back, right? That's the.
Well, this is like the train rolled over him.
Oh, lordy.
65 cars
Oh, lord.
passed over Coleman.
Yeah.
None of them hit him. He got up uninjured.
He probably was like, you know, the tracks you could lay between the tracks and the
You just
train.
yeah, if you just stay down.
He was a trainman. He probably had some training in that, right?
Training, he certainly did. However, he complained to the officers, he's now without a train. Oh,
And
yeah.
probably without a job.
One would think, one would hope, you know.
Well, maybe they teach him to train other people how to do that. That's a good skill.
Yeah, you know, that would be a good thing. Like, if you ever fall off a train or on the tracks and there's no time, just like press yourself between here.
You just lay flat, you know?
Yeah, and just don't get your arm over any of the
Oh,
things. Yeah.
That's amazing.
That was our old time for the week. Now let's go elsewhere. Now, of course, we also have stories that we don't get
And
from
you have
Greeley.
to tell the second half of
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Justin
Yeah.
Bieber.
But this is a story that
Maybe
comes
put pictures to-
fairly close to Joyce and me in Maryland. This comes from Pennsylvania.
Oh.
So this is a real story. It's only from a week or two ago. But weird news in the news. Themis Matsoukas.
What?
That's the guy's name. Themis Matsoukas. A longtime and award-winning chemical engineering professor at Penn State. Well, he may not be teaching for a while. He was charged Tuesday after being caught earlier this year, naked from the waist down, except for socks and shoes, so he's not technically naked, performing sex acts that were caught on a state forest trail camera. It doesn't stop there. The Themis Matsoukas caught on camera, you know, these trails have things. The sex acts were with his collie. You know, he's going to be dogged by this for the rest of his life. Matsoukas, age 64, is on leave from the university. He was identified through a North Face backpack he was carrying from the incidents back in April and May, when he allegedly tried to record himself performing the lewd acts with an electronic tablet. He wasn't performing the acts with the tablet. He was using the tablet to record himself with his pet dog. After Matsoukas was identified as a possible suspect, rangers from the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources searched his home. He panicked and told investigators, quote, "I'm done. I'm dead. Shoot me. I need to die," unquote. Asked why he did what he did, he said, quote, "I do it to blow off steam." I didn't know his dog's name was Steam, but no. Matsoukas was charged with open lewdness, indecent exposure, sexual intercourse with an animal cruelty, disorderly conduct, and a few misdemeanors. He has allegedly been dogging it since 2014. 2014. Yeah. Chemical engineer. Okay. Assuming the chemicals in his brain have just, rejiggered themselves a little bit. Anyway, let's get back to one or two more new time crimes here on Dave's Gone By, and then we'll get on to more of the program. So, let's see, where were we? Here we go. A caller at a fast food restaurant on 10th Street said a man with a backpack was trying to sell pills to customers in the lobby. I guess he hates it when his Mr. Pilly truck breaks down. So he has to go into the lobby and actually come out of his backpack and sell pills that way. What do they call that, Mr. Pilly? Like they just come...
Maybe the restaurant's so bad he's selling some kind of like antacid or something.
Back at Tom's,
Like,
yeah.
You know it's going to be a rough meal, so maybe,
But if they ever legal, because all over New York, it's ruined Manhattan. They've just got these marijuana trucks everywhere.
Pills.
Yeah, but imagine if they have like Mr. Pilly. And you just come like, ding, Tylenol, Rimadyl.
Wow.
There's a song, if you have pills, come try our pills. If, over and over again in the park. I think that'd be fun. And then one more, let's see. A caller on 12th Street said a woman was screaming in the backyard for a few hours. That's not that funny. A caller on 16th Avenue reported seeing neighbors shooting guns at a squirrel.
Oh, God.
Come on, I mean, squirrels have caused us trouble, but I wouldn't, And then finally, a man on 16th Street said a drunk, balding man, well, one out of two here, sitting at a bus stop, threw bottles at him as he walked his dog. So I guess that's maybe an extreme fetch or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot going down in
A lot going down in
yeah.
Greeley town, I guess there is.
Yes.
And that, my friends, don't go away because we still have more of our B story and our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. But that takes care of Greeley crimes and old times.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool.
Oh, he was not.
I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi!
Yippee-yi, 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 yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi.
Well, to recapitulate, Joyce and I were talking at the very beginning of the show of an incident that happened to us earlier this week when we were going to pick up some food from a restaurant,
I'll bring a picture of the offender.
came back, and while I was trying to pull out of the parking lot to drive home, noticed that on my wife's gym pants, her black gym pants, outlined very clearly was a bee, a yellow jack, on her pants. And because I'm neurotic and have always had an issue with stinging things and insects like that, I completely panicked and absolutely, yeah, it was this guy. It was this guy right here. Right there. It looked just like that, but from, looking at him from the top down.
Top.
And so I lost my shit. I was like, get out of the car! Get out of the car! I'm literally screaming at Joyce. Get out of the car! Save yourself.
You didn't say save yourself, because that would be.
Well, that's what I meant.
No, you didn't.
Because you assume that I abandoned you in your time of need.
Yes, you wouldn't tell me.
Well, what else could I possibly do?
You were trying to ram the car behind you and
Yeah.
you were yelling at me, get out of the car.
So I couldn't figure out
You were
how to
pretending-
stop the car to
you
get
were
out.
pretending to get
Yeah.
your seatbelt, but you were doing air touching.
Yeah, so I was trying to figure out where the hell is. So the car's rolling backwards. It's actually stripping the
They
gears
are very pretty.
because I was rolling the car and then trying to also unhook my latch and get the car open and get the door open so I could run out. I couldn't figure out in my complete
Do you think
utter
that was the queen?
panic state. Why? Why would that be?
I don't know. They're saying something about the queen.
Well, it was a docile, thank goodness. Because if it had been flying around the car, I would have shit my pants and smashed into a building. At least it was
How is
on,
that different than any other Wednesday?
or even it was on my leg. I would have been like, "Rah!" Literally.
What would you have done if it was on your leg?
Just what I just did. I would have looked down. I would have, "Rah!" Instinctively, I would have gone SWAT,
Yes.
which, if it had been a regular one, would have just started flying around the car, except this one was probably pretty near dead. And then done the same thing. Like, how do I get out? Get out! Trying to
That's
pull.
exactly.
Yeah, that was me. That's
That's
literally
exactly
me. And
what
I
you did.
try to do this and also hit. I literally cannot find the way to open the belt buckle. I am so lost. My
And you said
brain.
you couldn't think of words to say B. Like, why didn't you say B?
Because I just said, get out of the car, get out of the car. I figure, whatever reason I'm telling you to
But
get
it
out
was
of the
on
car.
me. Then it would have
Yeah.
come with me.
But outside, if you go foo, the bee
Mm-hmm.
flies away.
Mm-hmm.
Inside, if you go foo, the bee starts flying around inside the car. Much more dangerous, much more scary. So I'm like, get out of the car, get out of the car. And eventually, Joyce is like, just turn the key, get the key out of the car. So I did, car stopped, and I'm like pulling myself out from under the seatbelt because I can't figure out how to open
And
the
I'm the
seatbelt.
one with the bee on my leg trying to help
Yeah.
you.
How did you get out?
And then I realized, I looked down, I saw the bee, I shoved him away.
When we were outside the car already.
No, it was inside.
It was
I
inside the
shoved
car.
him down, or maybe outside, he went to my leg. But then I was trying to release you because I was like, hit the button, and then you finally
I was
hit the button.
literally trying everything with my hand to hit the button. And I kept looking for
And
the.
the whole ride home,
Yeah.
you were like That you were fake,
Yeah,
no,
well, so,
but he was with us.
well, that's part, here comes part two.
Oh, I forgot, yes.
Yeah, here's part two. So we get out of the car
Yeah.
and I'm just like, I'm wandering in the car. My heart is pounding a million miles a minute.
Yeah, so that's
I'm literally
that
like,
was your cardio for the weekend.
yeah, because I'm like, takes me about 2 minutes to even calm down to the point where I can get back in the car. And Joyce is like, no, he's gone. He's gone. He's gone.
I'm hungry. I'm like, I want my food.
Well, we got the warm food still from the restaurant.
It was delicious.
So I'm like, okay, I'm okay. We can drive home. And then smash into the car behind me because thank goodness there was a pretty long distance between us. And I'm like, I'm all right. I can drive. I hope I didn't mess up the car by stripping the gears, but let's just go home. Ooh.
Yeah, we averted crisis.
Go home.
Yeah.
We get out of the car. We take the stuff that we bought. Joyce looks down as we're outside the car by the side door of our house.
Yes.
And she looks down and she notices that the bee had not disappeared. It had flown away.
Of course not.
It had just gone lower down on her
He was
pants.
on my what do you call my shin? He was on my shin. Like right here. He was on
Wait,
my
wait.
shin.
Oh, but your shin was still covered. It was still covered
he
by.
was on the shin area. He went from my quad area to my shin area.
So he swept down. So this bee was obviously on his last bee legs or whatever,
Or
but
maybe just
not
liked
dead.
me. He liked me.
Yeah.
He was
So now I'm standing by the car. Car's closed up. You're standing by the side door.
I'm like, David, it's on.
And she's like,
I'm
David, stop.
holding the food. No, I was like, get the food.
And you're worried about the food. I'm like, get your pants off. I'm screaming at Joyce in the middle of the driveway.
Yes, you said, David,
Take off your pants!
get your pants off. You kept yelling, get your pants off.
And this is not in the
Get
car.
your pants off. Take your pants off.
And Joyce is like saying, just open the door. So open the door of the house. Well, so you can go. And I'm like, this is the last thing I want to do because if the bee flies, I don't want it flying into the house. I want you to get your pants off, get the bee away, and then I'll open the door to the house.
So I rolled up my leg, my pant leg, and I kept him in the pant.
Yeah. So Joyce's idea, very smart, was like, he seems to be pretty docile. She just takes the bottom of her gym pants and pulls it very carefully up over where the bee is. And then she's like, open the door, open the door. And I'm like, I don't want to open the door. I can't get the fucking bee out of here. But then, being the good husband that I am, I'll open the door. So I go open the side door.
I dropped my pants.
Well, literally, as you're running in, you're pulling your pants down, and you're like throwing them outside.
You said throw them out, yeah.
Yeah, throw the because I don't. If his bee's still in there and still alive, I don't want him in the house.
But then what did you do?
As soon as it ran into the kitchen, into the house, tossed the pants onto the driveway, and then I started to do the Mexican hat dance on Joyce's pants. I'm glad these were not fancy like slacks. All true. All true.
Some more cardio for you.
And then it started stomping.
No, you were insane. You were like just.
No, I was stomping all over your pants. Literally, I was just stomp, trying to catch every little surface.
So now both of us have had incidents with pants.
Right.
Miracle of Long Johns and I have the bee pants.
And your bee pants, yeah. So I stomped them, and my first thought was just get the garbage, throw them out. But I'm like, wait, they're decent pants. Why am I going to throw these things out? So I made sure to stomp. And then I left the pants on the driveway, your gym pants on the driveway, because we were hungry. I'm like, it took a lot of energy for us to do this. Let's have our food.
All that stomping and running.
So I leave them there. We go in, we watch TV, we have our lunch, which was yummy. It was absolutely yummy lunch.
Bieber.
And then Joyce already, she's now feeling sorry for this bee. This bee that went into a place where it did not
I feel
belong.
sad for him.
She should name him Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
And I'm like, me.
Rest in power, Justin Bieber.
I'm like, and it's like, no, bee outside on a flower, your place. Bee inside car.
And he wasn't a bee, he was actually a yellow jacket. So
Which is worse.
How do we put yellow jacket in like a celebrity name?
I don't know, Yellow Jack Nicholson?
Oh, we could call him Yellow Jack Nicholson,
Yeah, something like that. you may feel more gently inclined towards him than I did. I may have killed him. He may have already been dead the way he was behaving. I don't know. So here's the deal. We finish eating, and I'm like, here's my idea. I want to, because I'm a cheap Jew, I want to save the pants. So I'm going to throw away a $10 pair.
Oh, there's
Or-
more than 10.
Are they really like 20?
Yeah,
It's
more
like
than that,
yoga
yeah.
pants, whatever.
Yeah, yoga pants are expensive, honey.
So what I'm going to do, they've been sitting on the driveway for about 45 minutes. And I'm like, I'm going to do a laundry load. I'm going to, take whatever laundry we cobbled together. I'm going to grab them very carefully. Because I'm not going to shake them out in the driveway.
You were brave.
Well, because I figure if I shake them, I'll shake them out. The angry bee that I tried to kill
Yes.
is gonna see me and be like,
I know you.
so I just like this one. I literally grab, roll the pants in a ball,
You did great.
run into the
Yeah,
house.
but where'd he go? Where'd he go?
That's the thing. I threw them in the
Washer?
washer with a couple of other clothes. Just threw it in there, slam the door closed. I'm like, because the bee should technically still be in there, hopefully dead. I probably stomped him with my shoe, my sneaker, and he was folded up in the thing. So somewhere there's a dead bee. But who can, I'll wash him. It will just be a dead bee in the washer, whatever. And I get the washer going. I come down. I carefully extract the clothing. Actually, very quickly extract the clothing.
Never found a bee.
Throw them into the dryer. The clothing into a dryer. And I look at the washer.
I'm gonna ask, can a yellow jack vanish?
Yeah, because he wasn't in the dryer. There was no dead yellow jack in the dryer.
Can a yellow jacket vanish?
It's not a supernatural event. I can't imagine that he would suddenly be incorporeal.
Yeah.
Either I smashed him into like a
It
nub.
says like all the things say don't squish them, they can sting repeatedly.
Well, I did have a sneakers on.
Many people report disappearing in the lawn. But they should come back and I don't know what the queen looks like.
But thing was, so there was no dead bee.
Maybe
our
somebody
washer.
killed the queen, because if you kill the queen, the whole hive dies. So maybe
Well, it was an errant bee. You'll find them everywhere. I mean, they're bees. I'm just glad it wasn't a wasp, because that would be even scarier and bad if they stung you. And so I do a dryer load. Wash the clothes, go into the dryer, and I'm even scared and careful pulling stuff out of the dryer. Understand what this bee has been through now. This bee has been through me stomping all over the garment he was in.
Could have been the queen?
I don't know, throwing him in the washer, and then throwing all the clothing into the dryer. So I pull the clothing out of the dryer, pretty confident though, that whatever, if this bee was alive, he ain't alive now. And expecting to find him.
Maybe she was the queen.
Or her. Never found her.
Yeah.
It. Got to go. She got to keep her pants cleaned.
Uh-oh,
Even though I
wasps remember faces. You better watch.
Well, I also looked later on the
Look
curb.
around, yeah.
I looked on the driveway to see, well, maybe he crawled out of the pants, or when I was grabbing him, he fell out. So I didn't find, somehow, at some point, it, as you say,
Did
vanished.
you just get a toy one so that I would drop my pants? Was that part of your?
Maybe on my birthday.
Well, if we get pipe cleaners, I can make one. Like
Yeah.
yellow and black pipe.
Well, yeah,
cleaners.
I don't like bees.
Yeah, but maybe if we get a pipe cleaner one, you'll like it.
Maybe.
You could call him Pipe Cleaner Bee.
Pipe clean. Or maybe. All right.
Piper, is there an actress Piper something?
Piper Laurie.
Yeah, Piper Laurie.
Piper Parabo. If you make it look like Piper Parabo, I'll like it. But I'd be the one with a stinger. Oh! Thank you very much. That's a little comedy right there. Here on Dave's Gone By.
They put 991 shows. I think that was.
It's been a day for me, yeah. So.
Why? Everything went well. You got a guest win the thing. You had a good quiz. You made a question hard. That's okay.
No, I made a question impossible.
But we got another question to play.
Oh, yeah,
Played
yeah.
it, right?
But that was the bee story. So it was like a two-parter.
Who knew the question you'd pick about giraffes being born with horns Or which mammal was the one animal he saw up Earth and they made a big deal of it?
You never, who knows, you know, and just sheer, yeah, and you were the one, thank you to Joyce for salvaging the Today Yesterday quiz, because the tiebreaker I had to give to a different panelist. But anyway, we still have, and I do apologize for this, we still have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned to do, where we're going to White River City, Colorado, for a risque and miserable poem. But before we do that, let's thank again, since it's noon, it's high noon, Eastern time, here in the Daverhood, with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling wife, Joyce, all of you watching our 901st episode of the show, live on July 1st, 2023. We've been calling it Spare Me, in honor of our guest, David Spero, who is our brand new friend of the Daverhood. Remember to get his memoir, A Life in the Wings, which is available wherever books are sold. And also, of course, David Sheward. Remember to read him, his theater reviews, and theaterlife.com, culturaldaily.com, and of course,
Trotting David Sheward.
totaltheater.com. Yeah, David's going to be in Europe for, lucky man. And, and his blog, The David Desk. And Leslie Hoban Blake. You can watch new and old episodes of Two on the Aisle with her and Charlie
She's gonna be
Gross.
directing a show, right? Directing something.
Yeah, but not, she hasn't committed yet, but she might. And it would be her first directing assignment in several years. So that would be all power to her.
Awesome.
Yeah. So wonderful friends of the Daverhood, as well, of course, as Rabbi Sal Solomon. Go to shalomdammit.com for more about him. His stage show, An Evening with Rabbi Sal Solomon, that I am hoping David Spero will bring to the Wembley Arena at some point.
Oh, Wembley, wow.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it big enough?
I kept saying, Rabbi Sal wants to do it in Shea Stadium, which is difficult because Shea Stadium no longer exists. But Rabbi, he's got, this,
What is Shea Stadium now?
I don't know, parking lot, probably a Staples or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, the Mets play at Citi Field and the Yankees play, the Jets play. I guess they play. I don't even know. But yeah.
Wow.
But thank you to David Spero, and thank you to Rabbi Sal Solomon. Shalomdammit.com.
In the game, right?
But there's a couple of other people who I want to say hello to or thank because they've been on the program other times, years ago. These are more friends of the Daverhood. If I knew the music would, no, I'd still freak out. So here's the deal. Let's just give shout outs to some folks who are entitled to shout outs because they're friends of the Daverhood. For example, congratulations to Ann Hampton Calloway, who this past week was inducted into the Women's Songwriting Hall of Fame in Washington, D.C. And helping induct her was our other friend of the Daverhood, Melissa Manchester. So, yay. Also want to say condolences to actor Robbie Benson, who lost his father, Jerry Siegel, age 95, Kanahura. And I didn't realize this, but that nice movie that they did, or that Robbie Benson did, called One-on-One, about the kid in school playing basketball, he co-wrote that with his father, Jerry Siegel. So farewell to him and our condolences to Robbie Benson. I want to remind you, this is the last weekend to see the play Primary Trust. It's an off-Broadway show being done by the Roundabout Theater at the Laura Pels Theater with J.O. Sanders, marvelous and always working New York actor in it, Primary Trust from the Roundabout. Letting you know that on Friday, Jack Cassidy and Jorma Kaukonen, both of whom have been on this program, both of whom were in Jefferson Airplane, both of whom are still in Hot Tuna, and Hot Tuna has just released a box set of shows from the 1990s, live shows that they did. Mercury Studios is the record label. Want to remind you that you have until early September to see Tova Feldshuh in Funny Girl. Dakin Matthews is in Camelot on Broadway at the Lincoln Center Theater that just announced a closing date in a couple of weeks. So you better get to Camelot if you want to see it. Lilias White is in Hadestown at the Walter Kerr Theater. Alan Menken's music is in Aladdin. It's also off-Broadway in Little Shop of Horrors at the West Side Theater. And in terms of cabaret, lots of cabaret people on this show. K.T. Sullivan holds court on Tuesday evenings at the Algonquin. Seth Beeson-Hirsch does Seth's Talent Show Tuesday nights at Don't Tell Mama. Marcus Goldhaber holds court at room 623. That is the name of the place. 623 up on 119th Street, where he does pop and jazz. And then Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano are at Birdland Saturday night. So go see them tonight. Birdlandjazz.com for tickets. Vince Giordano and the Nighthawks are at Birdland on Monday nights, as is Jim Caruso's cast party every Monday night at Birdland, birdlandjazz.com. Big shout out to my good old friend Evan Seplow.
How's he doing this semester?
We got an invite from him for his July 4th barbecue.
Oh, where is he
We
living?
can't go.
In
Evan,
Connecticut?
after all these years, we had this tiny little apartment on East 11th Street or East 14th Street, where he did all this stuff, the filming, the whatever. It was just, it was like one bedroom, not even, or barely, and just
Studio.
yeah. And he moved up. He moved uptown to, I'm not gonna say where, but he moved up above 100th Street. And congratulations to him. He's doing great, apparently. Can't go to his barbecue because we're here in Maryland. But I hope he has a wonderful holiday. And everybody
He
go.
did a great job filming your stuff.
Yeah.
He did such a great job filming. And then all the cabaret stuff, that was fun. And I forgot the name of the place, David, help me. When you did the
Roy
Stage
Arias.
Buddy show.
Oh, the stage play.
It
No,
wasn't there. That was that like near a comedy club. It
Right.
was right
it wasn't
near.
Gotham. It was the something comedy club, and then we did it at the Players Theater downtown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
So Evan, Evan really.
What's he doing now?
Well, I'm assuming he's still making commercials and industrials, and very much in demand in doing so.
Such
So-
a nice guy. Didn't you see him? Didn't he record you and Richard?
Yes, he
I'm
did.
trying to come back to.
Well, he didn't record me. He when Rabbi Saul
Oh,
Solomon.
yes, look, he has his own website.
Yeah.
He's a film video director, producer, writer, shooter, editor, and graphics, 2 and 3D specialist who's worked on pretty much every conceivable type of project.
True.
Feature shorts, commercials, music videos, corporate, and pretty much every other kind of marketing and film event.
Yeah. I mean, he's multi-talented.
Yeah.
He works all the time. And he's great. So he's Evan Seplow, and his what?
There's a picture of him as the 13-year-old kid.
Oh,
He did commercials for AIM toothpaste and Dunkin' Donuts, and he had a lead role on Broadway.
I don't remember that. I mean, he was on the show. I probably asked him about it. What role?
Is this the right person?
Hold on. Well, that must have been him when he was.
Little.
Yeah. Well, did it say when he was on Broadway?
I don't know. I'll look it up, baby.
Yeah. Just do IBDB. Evan
Oh.
Seplow, Seplow.
Yeah, no, I'm here, yeah.
But StageBuddy.com is a website that he put together about New York nightlife, about theater, music, cabaret, all the things to do on an evening in New York. I was the theater listings editor for about a year or two. He hired me also to do a live stage talk show thing. I mean, really owe a lot to Evan.
I don't
So,
know how to. It
StageBuddy.com.
would be early,
Check
right?
that. Well, just look him up under IBDB.
But there's too much. He edits a lot.
Oh, yeah. Anywho, then by next week I'll look it up. I'll let you know what he was in. And also, shout out to Bob Cudmore, who does podcasts of upstate New York history at bobcudmore.com, Cudmore, and to Vicky Quaddy, who does Late Night Catechism, Bible Bingo, and other shows at the Greenhouse Theater in Chicago. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. Yeah.
Doesn't say.
So it is almost 10 after 12 in the afternoon Eastern Time here on Dave's Gone By. And so much today. We had the Marvelous Today Yesterday quiz with our brand new quiz champion. David Spero, who was also a great guest with Rabbi Saul Solomon. We also had Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Joyce and I decompressed about our bee experience. I mean, what a show that it has been. What else could we possibly do to cap
Bring Back Birdie.
Oh my God, he was in Bring Back Birdie.
1981, March 5th and 7th.
That was a sequel
What is that?
to Bye Bye Birdie, written by, I think, by most of the same people. And I think Donald O'Connor was in it. He was in a show on Broadway with Donald O'Connor.
You should ask him. Why don't you have him as a guest?
He did. He was a guest many years ago.
You know?
I have to go back and maybe we asked him about it. Maybe not. I literally have to go back and by the way, this is what a perfect segue.
What?
If you want to hear the interview we did with Evan Seplow
Yeah, I'd like to see.
at least a decade ago, go to davesgoneby.com. davesgoneby.com. All our episodes. We've done 900 previous episodes of the show. Nearly every single one of them is saved and captured and available at the website. And which means every interview virtually that we ever did. Most of them were audio only because we were a radio show for the first decade or more. And then the last couple of years have been video too, obviously. But it's all there. Either davesgoneby.com, you can find our channel at archive.org. If you just want the audio because you're a podcast person, go to castbox.fm. And also we have a YouTube channel, Dave's Gone By. All great ways to get the same content, the 20 plus years of episodes and material that we've done on Dave's Gone By.
Okay.
So, yeah, as Joyce says, Evan Seplow,
That's really cool.
check him out. If you want to hear our interview with Melissa Manchester, we just mentioned her. Go back, search her, Google her. Well, you can Google her or search her on the site in our archives. Anyone, J.O. Sanders, Lilius White, this is why I mention these folks. If you're, that person was on your show, I wonder what the interview was like. You can literally find out whenever, as soon as the show's over. And as soon as this show's over, we'll start saving it and getting it ready. And usually within about 24 hours, the program is there, available in perpetuity in all these places I mentioned. If you want to, write to me, you can do so at davesgoneby@aol.com. davesgoneby@aol.com. I read everything. I don't have the chance to respond to everything. And again, you can also message me on Facebook or post messages on Facebook. I don't really have the room to add more friends on Facebook because we're up around 5,000, but I certainly appreciate your being able to contact me, to listen to the show, to tell more people about the show, and share the Daverhood. Well, we have, oh my God, it's almost a quarter after already. Let's get to, I've been putting it off as long as I possibly can.
I'm just reading about Evan. Wow.
Yeah, he's quite a dude. Our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, because Joyce and I lived in Colorado for a bunch of years. And while I was there, I thought, you know what would be fun? Let's make fun of every possible place in Colorado that I can by writing a ribald, risque, sometimes downright offensive and disgusting limerick about all these different places. Everything from Vail to Greeley to, Evans, as many as I could rhyme. I don't know if we did any with Evans. I think we did. But this week we go to White River City, Colorado. White River City. I'll tell you a bit about it, and then I'm going to read an awful poem about it. Our Colorado Limerick of the Damned.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick.
Rocky Mountain,
Colorado. Colorado, indeed. Our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we are going to White River City, which is a tiny tiny community in northwestern Colorado. It's on the White River, hence White River City, and it's also got a creek, so very cool place to build up because it's got all that water. Oil speculators Reuben and Ambrose Oldman, they were brothers, founded White River City in 1888, hoping a railroad would come through town. Didn't, but so they ran a general store there, they built a schoolhouse, and nowadays it's a small place. There's fishing and hunting along Rio Blanco Lake, White River Lake. So, pretty nice place, as so many places in Colorado are. This, Get the kids out of the room for this one. This is our Colorado Limerick of the Damned for White River City, Colorado. An Obgyn from White River City considered him. I'm going to try that again. I'm sorry. An Obgyn from White River City considered himself rather witty. One girl smelled so heinous, he plugged up her anus and tattooed a fish on her clitty. Yes, feminists, please send your hate mail to davesgoneby@aol.com. davesgoneby@aol.com. You can also check my Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2, and our Instagram page, david.lefkowitz. And don't forget my other website, davelefkowitz.org, for my writing. Did you love our Colorado Limerick today? Was it Betty Friedan approved? No, basically saying it's not. Anywho, this ends the 901th episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the Stream, starring me, Dave Lefkowitz, with my darling, adorable wife, Joyce. Thank you again to David Sheward, David Spero, Leslie Hoban Blake, and Rabbi Saul Solomon, as well as all of you for tuning in and enjoying. I expect we will be back next Saturday, same time, same Facebook channel, with episode 902. Cover that up right there. 902 of Dave's Gone By. Until then, hey, happy America, happy July 4th. Take one day and forget all the crap of left and right and this and that background, and just enjoy the fact that we live still in a pretty great place. Happy July 4th, everybody, and gone by.
Days gone by, days gone by, days gone by.